Oh, good afternoon, race fans, GT3 fans, whatever kind of fan you might be. Welcome to Box3 Motorsports, and we are back for Race 3, Season 5 at Brands Hatch. And as you can see, it is already getting wet on track during today's session, during the practice session. I have a feeling that's going to stick around. My name is Adam Thursby. Let me welcome back again, Mr. Philip Milley. How are you, sir? Have a good week?
I did. I'm ready to see what the wet action around Brands Hatch is like, because it's going to get spicy.
It is going to get spicy. Brands is not a favorite track of a lot of our drivers for some reason.
I'm going to guess it's because it's punishing.
I enjoyed Brands.
Yeah, I enjoy Brands too. I enjoy the old school British GT, old school American road course circuits, because you don't have like Walmart parking lots of runoff area like you do at like Paul Ricard and stuff like that. But I can understand the challenge around here. A lot of people complain that it's a difficult track to pass. I'm pretty sure that Druids at turn 2 is a really wonderful spot to throw it up the inside, and then you've got some other opportunities around sector 3 where you can take a risk. But you know, these old school British tracks, like you gotta risk it for the biscuit.
Yeah, I generally I'm not a fan of the British tracks. I find, you know, Alton Park. What's the other? Not Silverstone. What's the other?
So you got Alton, Snetterton's another one that's not very popular.
Yeah, Snetterton. That's the one I couldn't think of the name. They're so narrow. The tracks are so narrow that yeah, trying to find opportunity is not easy ever. Brands, I don't find Brands to be as narrow as like an Alton Park or a Snetterton, right? Plus, I'm a fan of elevation changes, and Brands goes up and down all the way around that circuit. Yeah. It's not just, there isn't just one hill like Panorama or something like that. It's one of those that goes up and down, basically, again, all the way around the circuit. You're finding an elevation change, and I really enjoy that. There are corners that give me problems. T1, I can never seem to slap T1 right. It's not what I would call a high-speed corner, right? But it's a higher speed corner, right? It's kind of like halfway in between.
Yeah, it's pretty high speed. Like I would say, is, yeah. So the key corners where you're dealing with downforce and mechanical grip working together to kind of get the car through the corner. You're going to be looking at Paddock Hill Bend at turn 1. You're going to be looking at Hawthorns, which is going to be in the middle of sector 2, and then the final corner at Clark Curve. The cars that have a little bit more in the way of aerodynamic downforce, they're going to benefit from that. Okay. And then your low-speed corners like Druids, the end of Sector 1 with Graham Hill, Surtees, all the way towards Hawthorns, that's going to be your more like low-speed cars that are leveraging their mechanical grip and have good acceleration out of the corner. Mm-hmm. So it's going to be interesting to see the mixture of cars that we have, because we have a pretty diverse field, even in AM. No Audis, unfortunately. No. But I feel like we've got some interesting opportunities to see some fun stuff on track.
Absolutely. And so now, let me ask you this. You obviously a lot more experience than I have. How, and this is kind of a silly question because it's going to impact the race in no matter what track we're on, right? But how does the rain impact Brands versus other circuits? Is there going to be... What are we going to see here, or what corners these guys have to look out for to be careful on, just strictly because now there's rain?
Well, so the parts that we're looking at right now, like you've got the Lexus pulled up, or no, that's one of the M4 offerings. So the end of Sector 1, that's where you hit a low part of the track at Graham Hill and going into Surtees. You can get some water that can pool over there in that portion of the track. The other thing is too is that right outside of turn 2, so when you drop down the hill after the hairpin at Druids, you immediately are in a situation where you were talking before about how the track's narrow. Well, at Brands Hatch, there's a lot of areas where you can abuse the runoff, what limited runoff you have, and right outside of Druids, when you go into Graham Hill, you most of the time people put almost their entire car out on the grass. Mm-hmm. You can't do that when it's raining. Okay. That's going to spell disaster. Also, when you're finishing out the lap, getting ready to go into the final corner at Jim Clark Curve, exiting Sterling Moss, another one of those corners where drivers tend to get a little bit on the curbing and on the outside, sometimes even touching the grass. Do that there, and you're also going to die. So it's just going to be interesting because they're not going to be able to abuse track limits the same way. It's going to be interesting to see what kind of lines people take. People are probably going to be a little bit more conservative. But yeah, should be interesting.
Excellent. Well, let's jump over to it. Our practice session with about 2.5 minutes left to go. And we will take a look. You see some fastest laps. Tristan Jonendijk setting the fastest so far during this practice session. Yeah. A 1:31.5. Much slower than what we're used to seeing, right, for speeds or for lap times around Brands. But the rain is obviously going to play a big factor there. Let's talk a little bit about our AM class drivers. We do have a full course of 20 drivers today for this AM and Pro Am event. And of course, right after this, we will be back with Pro and Silver Racing. But taking a look after 2 rounds so far of Season 5, Paul Ricard a few weeks ago, and then just last week was race. Oh my God. You would remember. Where did we race last week?
see here. Yeah, I'm having a bit of a brain spasm.
Struggling, right?
Yeah.
Struggling. But after it was a long week. I'm forgetting everything.
So we were at Barcelona for round 2.
Barcelona.
Yeah, Paul Ricard was the opener, and then we had Barcelona. And Barcelona was really spicy, especially when we got to the pro split. So
100%.
I'm interested to see with the tight quarters that we're going to be experiencing around Brands Hatch, especially in the wet conditions. What are these drivers going to do to conduct themselves on the track?
It's going to get crazy. But after 2 rounds, Brandon Waldreth leads this championship. Finished first in both races. Currently with 111 points. Jace Wright finishing second in both races in BMW M4, 98 points. Jester Flump sitting in third with 2 fourth-place finishes and 80 points. Coming down through the M class, Steven Music, Terrell Scenes Taylor rounds out the top 5. You got Kai Kuba, Bruce Hopkins, Kenny O'Connor, John Rulin, and Chief Blaze in the top 10. Chief not participating last week and sitting at 29 points. If he'd have been here last week, could have gotten himself up probably a good bit higher here, up into 7th or possibly even 6th. So we'll see if he returns this season. I don't see him on track today. We'll go through that in just a minute. Let's talk about the Pro-Am standings after 2 rounds. Justin Sacombe, who is out on track at Brands today, currently in first round P3, and a last week at Barcelona taking first for the Pro-Am class, 99 points. Steven Tomazik in second with 78 points. Bob Charlton right there, though, with 77 points. Bob Charlton, a bad week at Barcelona, coming in 12th after a first-place finish in round 1 at Paul Ricard. So we'll see. I haven't seen if he's... Yeah, Bob Charlton is on track today, currently in second with that practice time, as we get ready to jump over the qualifying here. So we'll see what kind of time Charlton can put together today. Gian Cardoso in 4th, Tristan Yonendijk in 5th, Robert Hepburn, your boy Blue, Michael Zwanenberg, Edward Walsh, and Burke Beat round out the top 10 for Pro-Am. So yeah, that's Charlton's the outlier right now, right? I mean, he got first in Paul Ricard, comes back last week at Barcelona, and just got wrapped up in some nonsense, and ended up in 12th. Was able to climb himself back up. I believe he was as low as 17th at one point.
Yeah.
So was able to get himself a little bit forward, but now we're seeing, we'll have to see what he's able to do here at Brands today, and whether or not he can get himself further up in the rankings.
Yeah, like Barcelona was actually a way tougher race than I was expecting. It's a challenging track for sure. It's definitely not popular amongst the drivers, especially with Sector 3. But again, it was just seemed like the track itself was and the action on track, because we had like pockets of really close racing, and it seemed like it was always a struggle to try and execute a good pass here. And Brands Hatch is going to be a way tougher place to try and get that done.
Yeah.
But again, I really feel like drivers that have put the time in, got their setup in order, especially when they're getting their tires adjusted, I think they're going to be able to take more risks, especially in the wet. If people are being cautious, I think there's some opportunity.
Absolutely. We'll have to see where it goes today, but we are now up for qualifying. We got 15 minutes to go here. Let's take a look down through and see who is all on track today. And obviously this will start moving around very quickly, but Robert Hepburn coming back today. Your boy Blue is out there ready to rock and roll. Maria Kroichkova, I think we're getting that down. We'll get there. Bob Charlton, as we said, is back. Gian Cardoso, Kenny O'Connor, Michael Kozubski, Josie Austin, Steven Tomazik returns this week. Burke Beat, Alex Martin back out there, still sitting in the pits. Tristan Yonendijk, Edward Walsh, the Warthog, Frank Reynolds coming back to us this week. John Rulin, Jester Flump is out there. Matthew Gibbons, Justin Sacombe, as we said, current leader, is back on track. Stephen Music, and Bruce Hopkins. So again, 20 drivers today here at Brands. They can't hate it too much if we're filling 20 driver grids for this AM and Pro-Am race today.
Well, I mean, the wet, it gives drivers towards the back of the field like a really big opportunity to capitalize and get some really good points, because rain races are the great equalizer. Like, it really brings the fast guys kind of into the clutches of the guys that are further down the order. And if anyone gets involved in any kind of shenanigans on track, keeping your nose clean, trying to keep the car moving in a straight line on the black stuff, is going to be it's going to be the secret to unlocking some points here with this wet weather that they're dealing with.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, like you said, I think rain can equalize people a lot. It takes. I want to say that it's easier to commit a mistake that's going to take a first place driver, someone who's finishing podiums, and suddenly they're Charlton from last week, and we had a little bit of spit at Barcelona last week. Looks like we're going to be full wet today, but it takes one of those drivers and takes them from that P2, P3, P1 finish all the way down to a P12. And I think the margin of error is much smaller in the rain than it is when you're on the dry track.
The margin of error is very much smaller, but the one thing that I do want to highlight here is that there are some cars that are particularly tooled very well for wet weather. I'm imagining that we're going to see the M4s pretty strong around here. They were strong in mixed conditions in the past. I would not also be shocked to see the Astons perform really well around here. And Rob 24K in chat talking about how the Porsche feels amazing in the wet, and Hepburn right now is kind of showing people that that's probably true. I mean, he was on top of the timesheets in free practice, and we'll get a better understanding where he's going to stack in the order once he gets his first flyer out of the way.
Yep, no flying laps as of yet. No time set with just under 12 minutes left to go. We'll take a look at Robert Hepburn here.
So Hepburn right now, not even registering on the overall max for the speed trap in any significant way right now.
Okay.
Currently sitting on 226 for top speed. I don't think speed trap is going to be as big of a factor here, but sometimes it's good to just mention it, because I mean the M4s right now, we've got Reynolds and Cardoso, an M4 and a Maka respectively, both clocking in at 235. kph, so there are people that definitely have a little bit more top end on their setups, but pushing that hard, pushing in a way that risks too much, it could catch you out.
Yeah, absolutely. And I love this. This is gonna be so much fun. Burke beat rocking in the first 131 on the day, just squeaking under the 132 with Josie Austin, Tristan Yonendijk, Kenny O'Connor, Ian Cardosa, all right there in that 132 range as these start to come in. Dustin Sacombe setting a 134.8, a little slow there.
Yeah, I'm kind of curious to see what Justin can do this week. He did a lot of really impressive stuff at Barcelona, and I feel like if he can put together a good lap around here, get further up the order, race at the front end, at the sharp end of things, we could see some action out of him. But right now, the person that I've got my eye on more than anyone right now is Gian Cardoso. He's got 8/10 on the timesheets right now, getting ready to finish a lap out. 8/10, that could possibly push him a little bit closer to Burke beat. Yeah,
now it's showing a full second up. But Josie Austin is showing 3/10 up and a purple, and there it is right there, just crossing the line, 131.727.
Yep.
For Josie.
That's, I believe that's another M4 in the field. Again, M4 strong in the mixed conditions. It matters. Tomazic clocking in there with the Honda, showing people that the New Balance changes for the Honda have not kept him out of the running for a potential pole position around here at Brands Hatch.
Interestingly, though, no, only up by a hundredth of a second. And now Josie Austin running out a 10th faster, so.
Yep.
And Robert Hepburn jumps up there. You want to talk about smoking it out? 150 on the end of that 131. That's a gap.
That's a big statement. That's a big statement. You got Walsh jumping up there too. We got a real tight pocket, it looks like, from P2 down to what that like. I would say I would probably put it at about P7. I'm really waiting to see if Tristan can get the Aston Martin a little bit higher up in the order in the 6.9, but we'll see, because I feel like the Aston's pretty strong in the way.
Well, right now running on an out lap, so we'll catch up with Tristan as hopefully he's able to make that flying one soon. I want to take a look here. Yeah, Robert Hepburn locked down all, looks like, no, sectors 1 and 2 are purple for Robert. Sector 3, Josie Austin's still holding on to purple right now.
So Sector 3, Josie Austin's still holding on. That means that as we get into kind of a, I don't know, I'd probably put Sector 3 at more like a medium speed kind of feeling. When you get out of Hawthorns and you go into Westfield and Dingle Dell, like those areas, like mechanical grip really matters. Aerodynamic grip matters, but I really feel like the mechanical grip on the car is probably a little bit more important. So maybe Josie's got a little bit more going on with the setup on the M4.
Gotcha. Well, so far things working out well for these guys. We're seeing some good. I mean, these are in the rain. I think these are respectable times for an AM and a Pro-Am class driver.
Yeah. What about Cardoso though? Like he's keeping Hepburn honest. He's gonna he's trying to keep him in touch.
He's gonna try,
now,
but he's still got 3 tenths on.
Yeah, 3, and that's the thing that maybe the audience doesn't realize with a lap being this short around Brands Hatch. If you're 3-4 tenths down, like laps barely a minute and a half. Like it's gonna, like those losses are gonna start mounting fast.
They pile up quick. Yeah, your boy Blue right now up about 6 tenths on his new lap.
Yeah, 6 tenths from Blue would be a good result. That probably would punch him probably about P10.
Yeah, somewhere right around P10, P11. Well, get himself a few spots there. Tristan Yonendijk, you said you were looking. Now up. He's flat right now. He was up 2 tenths.
Mr. Jake Wells in chat talking about people need to slow down, that they're making the Pro and Silver class look bad. Well, I mean, you could just have you considered going faster?
Don't worry, you'll get to race against these guys eventually as they move up in class with each season. At least that's always the hope.
That's a smart idea. Yep. I'm telling you. I'm telling you, man. Like, Mama didn't raise no dummy.
That's right. Just go faster then.
Yeah, just go faster. Have you tried pushing the right pedal down?
Tristan Yonendijk are now up 8 tenths. Kenny O'Connor up 6th on his fastest.
Purple in Sector 3, by the way. So has the ability to really unlock some time around here. Just got to get
almost a full second.
Yeah.
Wow. There it is, P2 for Tristan. Just like that. Let's see where Kenny O'Connor ends up if he can hold his time.
Kenny O'Connor with a half second, that would be some big gains. That punch him into the 31s, probably be ahead of Frank Reynolds. Although Jester Flump has about 4 tenths on his time, so it'd be pretty close between those two. Bob Charlton's got a half second.
Yep, I was going to say.
Which would be very good for him. Probably would punch him into P2. See if he can convert that. So you can see he's taking a very conservative exit through Clark Curve and down the start-finish straight because they're trying to dodge the areas where you got significant like water puddling. Because I mean, you're just not going to have any grip there, and the risk of hydroplaning is real around here. Yeah. So you're just trying to find the dry line wherever you can. The thing that would be interesting around here is if we see any kind of like mixed conditions, like if the track ever transitions around here, given how much time they've spent in free practice and qualifying running on a wet track, that is just going to cause chaos.
As someone sitting up here with you, Bill, I gotta be honest, I think it'd be fantastic. Now, if I were in the car, not so much, right? Then it's not as fun when you're actually the driver, but I will say, sitting up here, it is a lot of fun. Josie Austin right now showing a possible purple lap to take pole. Just dropped it off, though. Half a second up. Kind of riding the edge right now. Josie's going to have to really nail it down through this last corner to get purple.
Going into clearways in Clark Curve. Again, seeing some real conservative lines. But the traction control on the BMW M4 is pretty... I mean, it's pretty easy to get it right. You just put it on TC8 and just like mash the pedal when you exit the corner. Going second fastest, man, not that far off of Hepburn. Keeping Hepburn very honest. I love it, man. What do we got? We got like 0.3 of a second between the top 6.
Yeah, it's crazy. These guys just keep posting better times. Tristan Jonendijk now up 0.3.
Yeah.
On his current lap.
I wonder if we're running into a situation where the wets are starting to pump some of the water off track and we're starting to get more of a dry line and we're getting more grip out of the wets. I wonder if anybody might have actually overpressured their wets trying to prepare qualifying. They might be in trouble.
Robert Hepburn possibly about to give us our first 130 of the day.
Yeah. Which is that'd be a little bonkers, not gonna lie.
Tristan Jonendijk, however, 131, 150 is where he's at. Tristan Jonendijk unable to make a move any higher. Leaves Bob Charlton still sitting in third. Robert Hepburn, however, again on his current fastest lap right now in the 460 Porsche.
This is not looking good for the 103 of Justin Suckham. It is 134.6. That is going to be it's going to be tough. He's going to have to push to find some gains. Hopefully he gets out on track while he's still got a little over 2 minutes to nail a flyer.
And there you have it, Robert Hepburn handing us our first 130 of the day.
And 130. That is just dumb.
Must be just very happy to go sit in the pits for the final 2 minutes of this wet qualification today. Track temp of 17 degrees Celsius. I do not see that changing much going into the race. Edward Walsh now up 0.2 on his fastest. Yeah, it's odd seeing Justin all the way down there in P20 right now.
He's got enough time to get around and maybe throw one more lap down, but he's going to have to really hit it. He's going to have to really come correct if he's going to try and get out of the 34s right now, because that is light years off pace.
Well, let's go right on board with him here. Take a look at his flying lap. This will be the last one he gets.
No pressure, Justin.
Timer will have run down by the time he crosses the line. We'll keep an eye on his timer here. Ian Cardoso running up 0.2 faster.
So he is being very tiptoey. He goes into getting ready to approach sector 2.
He does not like the rain, I think.
Yeah, through Graham Hill, like, again, you see him, like, he actually did use a pretty good amount of the runoff area, so maybe he's got a little bit more in the way of mechanical grip going on. Just tiptoeing the M4 around Surtees and now heading down. This is Pilgrim Drop as we get ready to go into Hawthorns. Now this is a corner right here that you can get wrong and you can lose a lot of time because there's nothing but kitty litter and grass to catch you if you overshoot the corner. Now on approach to Westfield, caught a little bit of the curb. You saw the car start to shake a little bit. I wonder if he had to back out of it a little bit. And now the blind right-hander at Sheen's, again, going a little bit wide. That probably invalidated his lap. He might have just blown it right there. Yep, he's pulling off, and that's it. That's a tough one, but here's the thing. It's a wet race around Brands. Be conservative, eyes forward, eyes on the prize, because you don't have to be fast around here. You just have to survive in the wet.
I was going to say, yeah, there's a lot to be said about your consistency. And again, it's something that sounds silly to say because consistency is always important. Whether it's dry, wet, snow, and rain, it doesn't matter. However, again, in the rain, because we've narrowed that window of opportunity to lose yourself very easily, that consistency is so much more important. You can get away with some things in the dry that you're not going to get away with once the track lights up with water. So
yeah, it's going to be a tough race, but again, we got that mandatory pit that is going to be something to consider. Like, when are you going to take the shot for the pit stop? And again, just focusing more on staying on track, finding the moments when the car you're chasing has a bit of a sketchy exit or overshoots the corner a bit, and then trying to take advantage. Those are going to be the moments when you might execute the pass, and it may not be a pass to write home about. Might not be the flashiest thing anyone's ever seen on Twitch, but it gets you one more step up the ladder.
100%. There you have it, folks. Qualification is set. We will be starting the race here in just a few moments. Your list down through today. Row 1, Robert Hepburn, Tristan Jonendijk. Row 2 will be Josie Austin and Gian Cardoso. Row 3, Bob Charlton. So Bob Charlton getting pushed back a little bit. Going to start in P5. Going to share row 3 with Steven Tomazik. Edward Walsh, Burke Beats, P7 and 8 respectively, coming in row 4. Kenny O'Connor, Maria Kruchikova. There we go. We got it. Row 5. Your boy Blue, not quite able to break the top 10 today. Going to start in P11. Share row 6 with Frank Reynolds, the Warthog himself. Chester Floomp, Bruce Hopkins, row 7. Stephen Music, Matthew Givens, row 8. Alex Martin and John Rulin, row 9. And in row 10, Michael Kozubski and Justin Sacombe. Again, very, very surprising to have Justin Sacombe sitting back in row 10.
Yeah, it's gonna be a tough race for Justin, but again, I think we could see a very different finishing order than what we're seeing right here for qualifying by the end of this race, with the wet being what it is. If I actually go back, I'm kind of curious. So I got a 5 a.m. start on the race, so we're dealing with the exact same sort of time of day thing. So the temperature shouldn't be that far off. It's really going to be about how much does the rain change in the simulation. Because if we have a race and we're dealing with mixed conditions, and it looks like we're not, right back into it, 17 degrees, same amount of wet.
And it is raining.
Yeah, it is raining. So yeah, session start time. They've got to get their fuel and tires set.
Well, real quick, while we wait for this to kick off, folks, as we said, don't forget to come back next week. The Nürburgring comes up. Same channel, same time. We will be at Nürb next week for 45 and 60-minute races, respectively. AM and Pro-Am, Silver and Pro. And it'll just be me next week.
Yeah.
Mr. Phil cannot be here, so you all are going to have to tolerate me by myself.
That said,
makes everybody sad, but
me and my dad might log in to Twitch, watch the race, and be sure and harass you from chat.
100%, please do. I could use it. But looking at a little further out, again in 2 weeks, just 2 weeks away now, 12 hours of Mount Panorama. Saturday, February 18th, starts at 1 p.m. UTC. We are going to take on the mountain for 12 hours, as some of you probably watched yesterday in real life. That was a fun race to watch. So
it was wild.
It was wild. Be sure and come back, folks, for the 12 hours of Mount Panorama. And the following day, I should have brought it up, but the following day, we go to Alton Park on February 19th for the continuation of Season 5 right here at Box3 Motorsports on Twitch TV.
30 seconds.
30 seconds. Get that formation lap here in a minute.
I still see some cars cranked to the side.
20 seconds.
We did have a pit starter last week, so we'll see if that happens again this week in either race.
I would not be stunned if we saw a strategic start from the pits for this race, just because going down into Druids for the first time on wet weather tires, especially when they're not up to temperature, up to pressure, it's going to be interesting.
Really hoping that we don't have a pile up into T1 and T2. And again, this is one of those tracks where you've got that you get that fast right-hander that's technically T1, right? I think the bigger issue will come going into T2 at the top of the hill right there.
Yeah. T2 is the area that's actually, in my opinion, more dangerous.
Lots of spray off the back of those cars as they come around in the formation lap. Definitely wet on track, and you can see the rain there on your screen.
Yeah, rain lights are running. Everybody's going to try and use this opportunity to get probably, I I'm kind of curious. Maybe Jake, if he's still in chat, would tell me in these wet weather conditions, like what's the more important thing to do? Are you trying to get more like lateral movement in the tires, trying to get them a little bit up to pressure, or are you focusing on more brake boosting, trying to use brake heat to try and get pressure in the tires? Like what is the desired way to get your tires ready for that lap 1 run down the hill? But it'll be interesting to see what they do.
One good thing about a short track is a short formation lap to get to the race.
Yep.
Spas and the spas and the Bathursts of the world take so long for a full formation.
Yeah, they do. So yeah, Hepburn in that Porsche pole position, man. It's gonna be down to getting a good jump off the line. Aston Martin really shouldn't give the Porsche too much trouble in terms of straight line acceleration. Josie Austin, though, and Gian Cardoso, driving cars that are probably going to be a little bit more built for the wet. Kind of interested to see what turn 2 is going to look like. Jake's like, I would try to get the heat into the brakes and turning the heat up in the tires, pressure to help get that little grip. So brake boosting, that is the trick.
So basically just ride your brakes, ride the brake pedal for the whole lap.
Yep. Now you see these cars in a mad dash as they try to grid up. It's one of the things that I really wish ACC would get right. Like when you're getting ready to do the formation lap, they don't get a whole lot of time to grid up correctly.
Well, we had an issue last week with a penalty dropped on the lead driver in the race in the pro and silver race. Due to being out of position, they were first. Like, and they didn't speed. They said they didn't speed in the Discord, so you have to wonder why did they get a penalty? But ended up with a drive-through for their trouble.
It was because for whatever reason P1 and P3 were probably I would say about a car length apart from one another.
Gotcha. As we go green.
And it matters. Making sure that you're in position, even as the leader, making sure that you're not too far ahead. That's important.
As Delilah found out last week, as we come up the hill for the first time. Driver's keeping it clean through the corner, though.
It's important. Like, you cannot blow it here because...
oh, and there we've got a nudge, though.
Yeah. Oh, and it's going to be a little bit of rear-end damage for the Feza.
Maria Kuryachkova getting knocked around right there.
Going to be able to get it going straight. Ride that one out until you get to the pit window, and then try and see if you can take the early pit stop and maybe nail a good undercut.
A lot of cars caught up in that, though. You see there on your screen, every exclamation point is contact. As right now, Bob Charlton is challenging successfully so far. Even Tomazic for position. Still going to fade out a little wide there onto the grass. Wow,
yeah, it's one of the
Walsh able to sneak right around.
Yeah, I know.
Charlton opened the door and let Walsh come right through with him.
Yeah, this is one of those things where because of the wet weather, it's very easy for you to get your car out of position, and making sure that you have a good defensive line going into some of these corners, especially when you're trying to be more conservative. That's important because you can run into the exact same problem that Tomazic just ran into.
Bruce Hopkins making moves with Chester Flute. Even music, Chester Flute dropping 2 drivers.
Oh, we got some contact at Paddock Hill.
Oh, yeah, we do. I see cars off in the dirt. Back there. Like Tomazic and Heat coming into contact together.
And Burke got shunted off a little bit to the right. Didn't really get to see the beginning of the accident. Now he's in the grass as they go into Graham Hill, and that's not going to be good, dropping a lot of spots. But again, reset yourself, get your head right, go back out, because again, this sort of thing is going to be happening all race.
Yeah, this weather's going to be causing havoc for everybody. As Justin Sacombe, check in with him because he started this race out Hurt near last. He now finds himself in P15 with contact right there. We can't get the camera on it because the cameraman's a goofball. But Secombe off in. Matthew Gibbons contact as well. Holy cow.
Yeah, I wonder if there's
today.
Yeah, I'm hoping that with the rain being what it is, those kinds of accidents are a little bit more low speed, and it's not resulting in people leaving with a significant amount of damage. But I'm watching Justin go through corners after that contact, and the rear end of the car is just sliding around all over the place.
Well, Maria Krochkova could not stay out for the pit window and is sitting in there now. Obviously needed to make repairs on that vehicle. Was not going to hold its own. As we watch your boy Blue coming up the hill. Lap 3.
Yeah, and Blue is actually starting to find some pace now that the field is stabilizing a little bit. He's up about 1.3, 1.4 seconds on his previous fast lap. Did just go off at Graham Hill, but keeping it together as they get ready to go into Surtees. And him and the number 3 M4 come together.
Uh-oh. Frank Reynolds.
But he's back out on track. Everybody seems to be going in the correct direction. This, like I said, this kind of stuff, this is just going to happen. All race.
Josie Austin right now, though, applying pressure to Tristan Jonendijk for P2. They've already traded places twice. Cardoso right there looking to make some kind of capitalization off it. Maybe do the old Bob Charlton, Ed Walsh, leave the door open a little wide trick on Tristan here.
I'm really like watching, and it seems like everybody is struggling for grip, rear grip, a lot more than we were seeing in free practice and in qualifying. I wonder if there's a little bit more rain on the track, maybe, in this session in comparison to the last one.
Yeah,
maybe it's raining a little bit harder.
Seeing those back ends, like you said, it's that rear end grip, and both these cars, Tristan Jonendijk and Josie Austin, coming down the hill. You saw the shimmy as they went around the corner, or came down the straight after the corner, coming out of T1. Oh, and here it is. Josie Austin with opportunity as Jonendijk goes wide.
And he needs to keep it conservative because, again, when you come together, especially when the track's wet like this, and you start to like lose the back end or anything like this, it's just you just lose so much time.
So Josie Austin able to take up P2 now. We'll see how long Jonendijk can continue to apply that pressure. Again, Cardoso right there with him, has not let up one bit as these three battle it out.
Hepburn is off to a 3.2 second lead on Josie Austin right now because it's battle for P2 that's going on.
Well, that's the thing. They weren't too far apart, right? They were keeping it relatively close together. Hepburn not really running away with it at all. He does have 2/10 faster on for fastest lap time, but like you said, this battle got started, and now Jonendijk had to back off and play defense, and now it's Josie Austin's turn.
Both Justin and Maria in the pits. I've yet to see either one of them drop off jacks and start rolling. Hopefully that's not 2 retirements. It's a tough race, but I'm thinking if you can just stick it out and stay out there, like especially with the field being at 20 drivers, there's definitely some points. I mean, it would just be a shame to lose a podium position or like whatever your season goal is by like 1 or 2 points.
Yeah. So Secombe's been in the shorter amount of time. Maria's been in there now. My count says 227, so it's almost 230 seconds. Yeah. That's a long time. We may be looking at somebody who's going to sit there for the rest of this.
So Hepburn now starting to lose ground to Josie.
Yep.
Gaps dropped from 3.2 to 3.0. Tristan has dropped back about a half second on Josie, and Cardoso's about 8/10 back from him. Another battle that is pretty close right now. Within a half second, we're looking at Burke B chasing down the 4.56 Ferrari. Steven Music.
There he goes right up the inside too, able to take it just like that. Working with a huge speed delta right there.
But
effortless.
Yeah, but being in the grass like that allows Steve Music to catch back up. You can see that the AMG is just twitching in the wet, and now Steve Music's got the inside line. Not quite enough overlap in Jim Clark. Burkay's going to stay out in front. It's about survival. You just gotta make it to the checkers.
Josie Austin now setting the new fastest lap for today, 1:31.217, so a full 0.3 over Robert Hepburn's. And Floop and your boy Blue in contact, both losing position bad. Your boy Blue dropping right off it over in the grass, trying to get that Bentley straightened back out.
Yeah, he's just went into the wall at an awkward angle. He doesn't have a whole lot of time before he's going to have, I believe that's one of the M4s in the background.
He did it to himself. He slid off it through T1 and then got bumped after that. So
it's that rear grip we were talking about.
Yep.
And the Boatley is pretty difficult to get rear traction in. At least for me, but I also have the right foot of, like, you know, a chimpanzee. Like, it's not the smartest right foot on earth. So
Steven Tomazik taking up now P7 from Kenny O'Connor. It's one thing about this software, man. I wish there were a 15-second replay option. There isn't.
Yeah, see, the thing is that I like, we did 949 forever, and I just stopped trying the replays. Well, I found that the if people wanted like a really good slick replay or something like that from the stream, just Twitch clip it, like because just the replay stuff in ACC is just kind of janky.
It is. I just wish there was more of a collection of times. And there, Gian Cardosa around Tristan Yonen. Oh, and Yonendijk sliding back off the track. Let's jump. We can jump back on that one. That was very close. Right there, the back end went. That's all it took.
Yep, and what that is right there, probably a little bit of a rear lockup, and then once that happened, it was kind of just, it's over. I mean, you're gonna run probably a lower brake bias than what you normally run in dry conditions because it's so easy to lock up the fronts. But get a little bit too aggressive, just smash on the brake pedal like a monkey, and you're just gonna spin it around.
Definitely happening today, and I kind of wondered if we would see some of that. You know, we've seen these rain races before where the biggest issue is not drivers colliding, which we have seen enough of that today for sure. But typically it's not drivers colliding. It is more drivers throwing themselves off track, right? So, and we're starting to see that now as things have spread out. Now suddenly there's a slide here, there's a slide there. Luckily not scooping anybody up with them, right? As Tristan Yonendijk now heads into the pits.
Yeah, so Tristan's going to go into the pits. Probably doesn't need to do anything like get any kind of repairs because I didn't see any contact between him and Charlton. Going to try and get back out on track as fast as possible. Try and start putting in some quick ones, catch up with Burkay. The gap between Hepburn and Austin now down to 2.262. So Austin is moving. Now here's the thing. Hepburn is in the catbird seat right now because there's 18 minutes 26 seconds left in the session. 2.26 seconds. All Robert's got to do is manage the pace over 18 minutes to try and make sure that Josie isn't like right on his gearbox like in the next 9 minutes. Like if he can stretch it out, if he can make it to where it's like you wanna take a shot at me, do it on the last lap kind of situation, especially if there is an actual pace delta. Or it could be that Robert's just kind of like hanging back. It's like Josie gets within 2 seconds or something like that. I'm gonna well, actually just went off at Clark Curve. Like that sort of stuff right there is gonna cost you time that you can't afford to lose against someone like Josie right now.
Yeah, not at this moment because that gap is coming down very quickly. Robert Hepburn going to feel some pressure now.
Traffic's going to be a factor too.
Well, I was going to say, now you're Hepburn, you see this gap closing up. Do you wait until Josie's right there and then shoot yourself into the pits? Get that pit stop out of the way and then don't have to worry about the pressure, can come back out and just run faster laps? Or do you try and stay out longer than Josie and do a little bit of an overcut?
I mean, right now, given the wet weather race and the fact that we still got 19 cars driving around, I don't think the idea of doing the undercut to try and dodge traffic is really going to get you a lot.
Okay.
Cars are pretty spread out. You switch to the track map widget in game, and you can see that cars are kind of a little bit all over. There's a bit of a gap between the 614 and the 456, so if you could magically get in that gap, you'd probably be a little bit better off.
Okay.
But right now, now that Hepburn has gotten around one of the M4s, and I didn't see who it was. He's got loads of clear track all the way up to the 6.9 car.
Hepburn throwing that Porsche into that corner. It looked like he drifted the whole thing. My goodness.
That might be we might start seeing a little bit of desperation here.
Josie Austin right there behind him. Now that gap down under 1 second. I wanted to check. Burke beat. It's happened a few moments ago, but Burke beat now with the fastest lap today. 1:31.165. Out of nowhere.
So, out of nowhere. I mean, it could be that early in the stint, losing a little bit of traction, probably could have gone in for the tires, maybe nailed the pressures a little bit better given the kind of conditions that he's familiar with. Mm-hmm. And that could be where the pace is kind of unlocking. Hepburn's off track.
Oh.
Does manage to keep it pretty much out of the wall, but he's going to lose a lot of time to Josie Austin, who has now claimed the lead of this race.
Yep, and there we saw that back end cut loose right there. Sliding off into the grass.
LA Kings Dave's got a question about what does the orange number 1 mean?
The orange number 1 means that they have one mandatory pit stop. With this software, it's not always 100% accurate. I think Phil can keep us a little more honest, and especially since I didn't turn it on right away today. But it should. I think I got it started before pits, so it should be relatively accurate. When it goes green, that means that they've done their pit stop.
Yeah, you got about half the field that have gone through and served the mandatory pit stop, and that is fuel and tires mandatory with the 10-minute pit window, of which drivers have 4 minutes and 48 seconds left to get in the pits and serve that mandatory pit stop.
Edward Walsh now closing in on Robert Hepburn after Robert spun off. Now Walsh looking for an opportunity. Hepburn into the pits.
Hepburn is like, I'm out of this. He does come into contact with the wall. Hopefully he's able to uncheck his damage repairs.
Wonder if that Porsche is struggling though, coming into the wall on his way into the pits. Makes you wonder if he's having a little bit of a struggle with that. But Josie Austin now leading this race.
Yeah. Josie's in a prime position. Yeah, what I think is, Maz, if I had to guess, it's like, how many times do people practice their pit stops in the wet? I mean, they did have the free practice server and they were out here for qualifying. You just have to prioritize that sort of thing. You cannot let silly errors cost you large amounts of time on track. Now, if he unchecked the damage, did not look like a really hard bonk, probably could just do the fuels and tires, get back out on track, start competing, try and make sure that he can either catch back up to Josie should she run into some calamity, or just try his best to secure the podium.
Cardoso in a really good spot right now, sitting in P4.
Yep.
A good ways back. I mean, look, we're talking 10, 40, 50, 60. I mean, he's a full minute back from Josie Austin.
Yep.
But he's greened up. The pit stop's done. He's only got 3 people in front of him, so I'm thinking, depending on when Josie gets in and out, he should at least catch Blue and get himself on the podium, if not Blue and Walsh when they go.
Here's the thing, though. Like, a full minute, like, that's a pit stop. Mm-hmm. Around here. So, like, for fuel and tires, like, we could probably be seeing from line to line a pit stop of Josie, and we might see GN be able to take advantage of it, especially if Josie is at all sketchy either on the in-lap or trying to get back out on track on the out-lap. Because, again, they're going to be taking a mandatory tire swap, and even if you nail your pressures, you still have to get them in the window after you come out of the pits.
Yeah, Walsh in the pits now. So this will start. Let's check in with Cardoso. The prediction, the software predictor that loves to tell us who's going to win, has Josie Austin winning this race, Gian Cardoso in second, Robert Hepburn in third. Josie Austin still with a pit left. Where is Blue?
Blue just went into the pits as well.
Blue headed in now. Okay, there we go.
Yeah, so Cardoso in with a minute .766 on the pit stop. We got a minute .846 for Hepburn. So Hepburn's pumping in a pretty quick pit stop, but not faster than Cardoso. We're also seeing some 101s, 102s, which seems to be a little bit more of the average. A couple of 106s. I think probably people either doing some repairs or missing their box. But that seems to be the pit time to beat is a 1 minute .766 right now.
Josie Austin now into the pits. Let's keep our eyes on Cardoso and see where he lands.
Yep.
Josie's coming out.
Yeah, I've got the track map pulled up while
Josie.
you're watching Gian right now, so we can I can give you an idea of what they're going to look like when they come out of the pits.
Yep, Josie just getting set into the pit box.
Nailing the pit stop is going to be necessary. Margins are very, very small between these two right now. And with Gian just now going through Sterling Moss down clearways, he's only got one more corner left, and he's going to be heading down the start-finish straight. And I have yet to see, Josie just dropped off the jacks as Cardoso comes out of the final corner.
This is going to be tight. Get ready. And right there it is. About
yep,
1
there's
second
maybe
gap
about,
between them.
Yeah, maybe about 3-4 car lengths between them. And again, Josie's on the cold stuff. Gian's already got some temperature in the new shoes he's got on the McLaren. So we're going to see what Josie can do on this outlap to try and stay out in front of Gian.
Burke Beat sets another new fastest lap today, a 1:31.030. I think Burke currently in P8's just out there today to see if he can break 1:30 race pace.
The pit window is closing down.
Hey man, in a race like this with these tough conditions, I'll take any bragging rights.
Right. Alex Martin losing position to Jester Fluke. P15. We will keep up with our front runners right here. Just that 1 second gap. Bob Charlton also closing in on Edward Walsh. We'll keep eyes there for P4.
We have not really, seen a lot of Charlton on track in the 153, but that under a half second to Walsh, things go a little bit pear-shaped for Hepburn again, and Charlton might be within striking distance of the podium.
Austin and Cardoso are just really, I mean, now it's starting to come down a little bit, but that, I swear that entire lap, they were exactly the right distance from each other. The gap stayed at 1 second the whole time. Now Cardoso starting to close in just a tad.
These are the two cars that I expected to see probably the best wet weather performance out of on track. Maybe the Aston I expected to see a little bit better, a little bit further up. Jester and Tristan kind of expected them to be a little bit higher up. Alex Martin in the Lexus. Lexus can be pretty strong in that. So it's kind of interesting to see that we just got an M4 and a McLaren in front of this thing duking it out right now.
Right now, Tristan Yonenbeck coming up on the back end of Bob Charlton.
Got a little bit of that on board that OG wanted to see. And
I can't promise you a whole lap, though. We got to keep an eye up for those front runners. But that gap now opening up. Josie Austin pulling away outside the 1 second mark.
Yeah, Tristan really starting to catch up to Charlton. I've got my eyes on Josie and Gian for you.
Perfect. I see Alex Martin and Jester Fluke continue to battle.
And it does look like Justin Suckham ended up dropping. So we're down to 18.
Yeah, we lost him and Maria. They both ended up dropping.
I'm going to pronounce your last name right, Justin, one of these days. It's Seckham. Seckham, like David Beckham. Seckham.
Gotcha. Okay. I didn't know that.
One of these days. One of these days. That's the thing. He's told me the pronunciation, and I can say it.
Mm-hmm.
But then I'll like look, and I'll see his name, and then my brain immediately like short circuits and starts. I don't know, like the hamster falls off the wheel, and then all of a sudden I get the name wrong. So that's on me, Justin. All right, so Burkay, man, still holding that purple lap down, man. That's wild. Oh man, Tristan just had another big drifto moment at Graham Hill, just like before. That seems to be the problem. The downhill braking into Graham Hill. It's one of those corners that it probably does benefit in the dry to have a little bit of trail braking. Probably not so much in the wet.
Yeah,
I had to bet.
Charlton's now got a free pass for right now, and Steven Tomazic is now on the back end of Tristan Jonendijk.
So the gap has opened up between Josie and GM right now. We've got about 1.615. Hepburn 5 seconds back, and then we've got Walsh 5.8 back. And Charlton's dropped off a little bit as he was under pressure from Tristan, but now he's got a little bit of free air. Maybe he can start to close it down a little bit to Walsh. And the thing to watch right now is between Tristan, Jonendijk, and Tomazic in 343 Honda.
Yeah, great battle with these two so far. Tomazic waiting. He thought he had the opportunity, but just couldn't quite pull it off before Tristan got himself squared back out. And now relegated to sitting in P7. We'll see. The gap there is starting to open back up too.
It seems like for the folks at home, like we've been watching a race that is about kind of like watching drivers be consistent. Like that's been the story here. Like the successful drivers at the front end of this race right now are the ones that have been the most consistent.
Mm-hmm. 100%.
So there have been some spins from a few of the front runners. We've got Hepburn had a spin, cost him to lead the race, and allowed Cardoso to get around. Tristan Jonendijk has had 2 spins, but the majority of the field has been pretty consistent. But again, it's been about trying to survive in the wet, trying not to lose time in these conditions. I wonder if it's going to be the same way for Pro and Silver.
Yeah, I'll be curious to see how they handle this. Obviously, Pro and Silver drivers typically more experience. And luckily, I mean, they knew coming into this race there was going to be wet. So these guys had plenty of opportunity, for all the drivers, had plenty of opportunity this week to practice in the rain. We set the servers up during the course of the week so that folks, we set race conditions as early as possible so that everybody has an opportunity to practice what it's going to be like the day of the race. Don Rulin now showing yellow.
318's off track. It's going to be Rulin.
Not moving.
And unfortunately, well, I mean, that could have been in the wall. Like that is.
Oh, that car does not look healthy. That's for sure.
Yeah, that was probably a big old bonk on the exit of Druids.
Tomazic back on the rear end of Tristan Jonendijk. Tomazic wanted it and then had to back out. You saw the car shimmy a little bit as he tried to swing around the outside there. I think he went a little too deep into the corner and was really working to not cause an issue.
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, it's one of those things where you feel like you got the car underneath you and you go into a corner and under braking, especially when you're offline in these wet conditions, because you got the dry line, and if you have to come offline and get onto the wet stuff, it's gonna compromise your braking potential. You're gonna have to take a longer braking zone. Probably won't carry the same amount of speed in the corner. Josie Austin right now, 1.5 seconds ahead of Gian Cardoso. The thing that I'm seeing here is I'm thinking that Josie's kind of like just kind of managing the race right. Just trying to keep the pace consistent. In fact, while watching the end of this race, I'm gonna
last lap, Austin down 4/10 on Cardoso's lap time. So he's been able to make up some time, but it seems like again that consistency is eluding him. He's not able to maintain that lap time to close this gap down. Now just under 2 minutes left to go in this first of 2 races. Don't forget, folks, stick around. We are coming back for Pro and Silver class racing right after this. We will join them in already in progress with practice and qualification.
I mean, if you kind of want my 2 cents, like Josie's got the cheat code for performing around here in the wet, and it's called 131.5. Just hit 131.5. Hit it every time, a 131.5. Because if you look at everyone's lap after lap distribution graphs, it's like it's just like watching a saw blade. Whereas with Josie, it's just like bam, bam,
really?
Bam, straight line, just bam. Had a few moments where we've seen 131.6s, 132s, stuff like that. But by and large, just nailing 131.5.
Perfect. Folks, if anybody does want to see that kind of information that Phil's talking about, exclamation pit wall in the chat will get you to our pit wall site where you can get live timing and statistics for all the drivers in today's race.
Mr. Mike Noss in chat from Tracklicious. Trying to cheer on You're My Boy Blue, who's currently P13, about 8 seconds back from Steven Music. Hopefully, Blue's going to get at least decent enough points out of this to maybe take a shot at a place or 2 ahead. But P13, what would that be? That's about P8 in class? P9?
Actually, P9.
Exiting the penultimate corner right here, the 137, looks like Josie Austin might cross the line and finish this race maybe right now? Yeah, I think it'll be right now.
Edward Walsh now catching up with Robert Hepburn here on this possible last lap. There it is. Josie Austin is your winner today. Gian Cardoso right there behind her. We watch Robert Hepburn, Edward Walsh right to the end. Walsh back
Cardoso was kind of like my pick of the day, man. Like just watching him in free practice, watching him in qualifying, like really, really strong performance. Just haven't seen him really fighting at the front end that much. So getting to see him kind of like take it to Josie and being able to capitalize on Robert's mistake, I kind of thought that Gian had it in him this week. So glad to see him on the podium. And Hepburn hanging on to P3. Like that's got to be
after
at least a little bit reassuring.
Yep,
yeah,
a little bit. Let's take a look real quick before we look to jump over here. Where's my thing? There it is. Position deltas. Who won and who lost today? Josie Austin and Cardoso both up 2 spots, taking those from Robert Hepburn. Edward Walsh up 3. Great race for him. Bruce Hopkins up 5 spots today, along with Michael Kozubski. Yep. Both of those guys earning 5 spots. Hopkins, winner in class for AM drivers, and taking out a few of the pro-ams while he was at it. Your boy Blue Kozubski and Alex Martin, all finishing further down the list there.
Man, so Mr. Hopkins, been able to race with him in the past, and a real class act of a human being. Great to see him at the front end of the AM. Just again, goes to show you do not have to be at the front of the field in qualifying to finish at the front of the field of your class in a race like this. You just got to be cool, calm, collected, keep it on track.
Correct. And just so you know, sir, I can't see you. You're a gray
you cannot see me?
You're a gray amorphous blob. Kind of.
How about now?
Now we can see you. There's that face everybody wanted to see. Everybody wanted to see. All right, let's get it set up here and over to our Pro Silver class race. This one. Now there's 3. What? Why are there 2 Pro Silver? Pro and Silver server.
And
there's drivers in both. There's drivers in both of them.
Yeah, I'm kind of curious what's
But
happening.
I think the top one's the. We'll find out, won't we? I only see 15 drivers in there though.
Yeah, I have no idea what's going on.
There we go. Let's get her set up. So I think really great racing today. I mean, obviously we saw a couple dings, right? A couple baffs. Drivers tangling each other up, but
Yeah.
overall, kind of what I expected with being in the rain, which is folks are going to do it to themselves, right?
Yeah.
They're going to end up doing it to themselves. And really that's what it's going to come down to. And that's, I think, what we saw today for the most part. So, but overall, great racing. Congratulations to the podium holders there and to everybody for participating. I think they had a great one.
Yeah, I thought it was a great race. Again, I feel like the consistency is the secret sauce. You just gotta keep it together. Gotta keep it nailed down. Yeah, it's tricky. Looks like we are still in free practice, actually.
Yeah, we are, and it's dry.
That is going to be so it is dry, but it is also fast. So I'm actually interested to see how this ends up working out.
We're curious.
Fast conditions. I'm not sure what's happening, but if this ends up being the server that we're in, I'm cool with that.
Right? Definitely different from what we just watched, that's for sure.
Yeah.
But with that, I'm going to throw things on auto. Yeah, go ahead, sir.
No, if you want to throw it on autopilot, let me get my broadcast connected.
I will. I'm going to throw this on autopilot and go take a quick break between races while we're still here in the practice session.
Sounds good.
And I will be back in just a few moments. So everybody keep an eye on practice. 7 minutes left. We'll be back before the start of qualifying. We'll have, I believe, a 20-minute qual, and then we are up for 45 minutes of pro and silver class racing. We will review those standings during qualification. Oh, maybe, because there's something wrong with SimGrid.
Yep.
It's only showing me certain results. So like right now I can see AM. Before I could see silver and pro.
Yeah.
I don't know what's going on. It's like the other classes don't exist.
It's not so much that the other classes don't exist. I think that because of whatever permission issues, like keeping us kind of like locked out the results page. That's just what's happening, and that's okay. I think we can probably put it together and figure it out.
I don't know why it's private. I do have silver up, so we'll talk about that when I get back. And there you go, new fastest lap, a 125.5. A little bit different in the dry when it's a pro and silver driver. Tom Foose locking it down with 125.5. Wow, he's all over it.
It's going to be, if we end up with like mixed conditions for this race, it's going to be bonkers because we've seen rain in basically every other session. This is the first dry anything we've seen. Yeah. I'm very interested to see what happens.
Can't wait. It's going to be fantastic. Stick around, folks. We'll go through the current results of this season once we get back. And oh yeah, somebody broke the server.
Yeah, let's go ahead and I'll bounce out of my client real quick and see.
Because every car just got dropped.
Yeah, I wonder if they're getting ready to move it straight into qualifying.
Could very well be. Yeah, at this point, I would think so. Oh, and my game disconnected, so now I have to shut the game down. Just so. Unless it's a whole ACC thing, possibly. Hey, your picture went away again.
Yeah, that's because I actually full screened to try and get
oh, gotcha.
To see what's going on. See if I can refresh these clients and find out what's going on. And it looks like the server is back.
Well, careful, there were two of them. There were two called Pro and whatnot. So.
Weird. Yeah, I wonder if there's some weird ACC things going on.
That's what I was curious about because
this session is so free practice is now back at 9 minutes. I wonder if they're getting ready to forward the session, and it is wet, by the way.
Is it okay?
It is wet now, so
it's always fun.
Yep.
Racing.
Yep.
Always fun.
So I will get my stuff set up real quick, hopefully, and maybe I can see what's going on.
There we go. We got it back. Seems. Yeah, I'm showing just under 9 minutes free practice left today.
Oh, they're having entry list issues.
Oh,
Okay.
those are always fun.
Hopefully they're sorted, but if they aren't, we'll be patient. We do it because we love it,
That's right.
not because it's easy. So yeah, we do have some rain on track, which is going to be interesting.
Hey, Fife, while you're at it, let them know that there's two pro servers up. I don't know why there shouldn't be, but there's 2 of them on the list that are labeled as pro. All right, we should be good now, sir. Come back over there. Yeah, we have more drivers now too on track, so we're up to 22 drivers at this point.
So if you need to step away or anything like that, sir,
Yep.
just like throw me on autopilot. I think I can handle the rest.
Yes, sir. She's all set, and it's just going to float around, and we will get ready for this race. Talk to you in just a moment. Stick around, ladies and gentlemen.
All right, so with 2 minutes and 15 seconds in the session time in the books already, we still got another 7 minutes and change. Drivers are going to be trying to feel around to figure out what where the grip is, because they are switching over from a previously fast session into now what is a full wet session. Tristan in chat, good race in the AM. Sata spun twice, had some good chances for a podium. I think you did too, Tristan. I thought the Aston in particular would have been very strong in the wet around Brands Hatch. Definitely seemed like under braking into Graham Hill, that downhill left-hander. Started to see the back end step out a little bit. I don't know if you're running your brake bias a little bit too far back, or if something was causing you to generate lockups, maybe being on a little bit too much on the wet side on corner entry. But I definitely expected the Aston to perform a little bit stronger around there. But still, the result you ended up with, you can't really beat yourself up too much. It is a tough race for a lot of people. So, yeah. Graham Hill is a tough corner. Graham Hill and Surtees, the left-hander that's right after that, are very difficult corners. You can lose so much time, and especially if you lose time at Surtees, you can get yourself in trouble because you'll have a slower approach to Hawthorne. You just lose a lot of time on the long straights like that after the goofing on a corner like that. I would love to try to pronounce that name. I don't think I can. But cheering on Gasolina and Jake Wells. Good to hear, man. That M4 driver just decided to punch out and take it off track in the 951. That is Sayabuk. Right now, Rivera was on top, and now Charlie Booth. So the McLaren's stepping up. That was something that we saw in the previous session. McLaren was actually really strong around here in the wet. Charlie Booth with that 132.8. Looks like the weather conditions are a little bit different from what the drivers in AM Pro AM split were dealing with. So I don't know if we're going to get in the 130s here, because these drivers are going to have to get acclimated. Maybe that they've got 130 pace in the car, but just the adjustment of switching back and forth between these different conditions, they're going to have to work to get acclimated. Rick Pixel in the pits right now, doing a setup change. Yeah, Bathurst will be fun in 2 weeks. I'll actually be racing in that. I'm terrified, especially in the Ferrari, which is a death trap. Just looking at the timing and scoring right now, we got about, I want to say about a half second between top 4. Gasolina, actually everybody's starting to find pace now. I think people are starting to get acclimated now, because Rumbouts just jumped to the top. Gasolina jumped to the top before him. Jake Wells now in P2. So yeah, people are starting to find it.
Yeah,
Aston is pretty strong around Bathurst, I would say. But that's me.
See, autopilot decided to just show us the rigs for a few minutes.
It's fine. It's fine. I've been looking at timing and scoring and updating everybody on how the field right now is really fluctuating a lot, because I think people are really starting to unlock a little bit of pace as they start to get their wet weather tires up to temperature. Because Tom Foose just jumps to the top by to the tune of over 9/10 ahead of Rumbouts. So we still got people that are figuring out what a fast lap around here looks like.
But curiously, I mean, again, are pro and silver drivers, right? And not really any faster yet. Now that may change during qualifying, it typically does, but really not any faster yet with their practice laps than our AM and Pro-Am drivers were.
So the thing that I was telling the folks at home while you were away is they were coming from a fast track into a track with wet weather conditions. Now, it could be that some of these drivers do have better than 130.8 pace in the car, but just getting acclimated to that delta in that delta of trying to get it figured out, it's gonna take a moment. It's gonna take a moment. The times are already starting to fall. Like Tom Foose was nowhere near 131.4 on his first flyer lap. Now he's in the 131.4s. People are starting to get into the low 132s. I suspect we might have a 130 by the time we hit qualifying. It's just going to take people a little while to get acclimated.
That's my thought too. With Louis Ricard jumping up with a 132.095. Let's talk a little bit about the current standings. Silver class up first. Gasolina leading the silver class after 2 races. Kevin Rivera in there in second, and Mike Burkhoff in third in the Ferrari 488. Louis Ricard, Timothy Glendinning rounding out the top 5 with Nick Paquin, Rob Kiesar, Matt Comiskey, Riddian Lloyd-Davis, and Nikolai Tiabuk in the top 10 for silver class drivers coming into Brands.
So, G2 Motorsport. I woke up today and decided I should qualify the back. It was a strat, purely intentional. Is that you, Justin? I thought you were JSEC.
No,
Maybe I'm wrong.
That's Alex Martin.
Oh, Alex Martin? Okay.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
Nobody keeps their names this weird. I don't know. Can't figure it out.
Yeah, the thing is that in a race like this with these kind of conditions, that is very much a balance strat. Like a lot of people, like especially if you feel like you're not going to be racing for a win or a podium, and it's really just about like, you know, if good luck comes your way. So Brandon Walrath said the entry list is messed up and can't get into the server. That is unfortunate.
Yeah, that looks that he's one of our AM drivers, so it looks like there were entry list problems there for that race as well today. Hopefully those guys can dig into it and find out why. I'm curious as to why. I mean, I don't think we've had that many additions this week that we would need to have changed the entry list. So
not sure.
Yeah, I don't know.
That's why they kept restarting the server. Oh, interesting. So they kept restarting the server, but for whatever reason, it still didn't work. That is unfortunate. It's just one of those things. I really wish that the construction of the JSON file was a little bit more user. Because I know people that are responsible for developing the game, and people who work with computers all the time are just going to say it's a JSON file. Why are you making it hard? Not everybody does your job. I mean, I'm happy that there are people that are technical that can do that job. I work in a technical field, and I appreciate it that I can do that sort of thing. But at the same time, too, there are doctors and nurses and people who work in construction, and they're confused by the orientation of the letters JSON together, and don't know what it means. Just make it intuitive for the everyman. You're trying to make this game accessible for the masses, so make the processes for using it accessible to the masses.
Agreed. That or have have your own ACC account, right?
Yeah.
And they could have their own back-end account server that people register with you with the league or whatever, and then they can just show up. So, I don't know. More than one way to fix that problem, but hopefully we've got it squared away for the pro and silver race today. Let's talk a little bit about pro as practice comes to an end. We get ready to start qualifying. Pro standings so far, you just saw him there on your screen. Charlie Booth currently leads in the McLaren. Actually, the top 3 are all McLarens. Charlie Booth in the number 46, Jake Wells in second, the number 84, and Anthony Anderson, number 16 McLaren. So 1, 2, and 3. Followed then, 1 second, let me get this wrapped around here. Followed then by Tobias Gable and Delilah Hazel, both in the Audi Evo 2. Round out the top 5. Alejandro Aguilar, Bayardi Rumbout, Jarrett Skinner, Stephen Dunn, and Paul Morris are your top 10 pro class drivers here at Box 3 Motorsports this season. As the drivers start heading out for qualification.
So I don't want to hear any complaints from Mr. Jake Wells about the balance of performance adjustment to the McLaren, because it seems like the car is working just fine.
Yeah, I don't think we have.
I mean, don't get me wrong. It's a balance in performance that the McLaren didn't need. Like, they're like, you know what we need to do? We need to reduce the amount of RPMs that they have access to. We need to reduce the power band of the McLaren. It's too fast. It's not. It's a very slow car. So they took a bad thing and made it worse. But the good news here, good aero platform, very good in wet weather conditions in the hands of somebody who knows how to use it. I'm interested to see what Jake can do around here. Again, we're dealing with short laps, right? So we're dealing with about a minute and a half. It's going to be interesting because if you Tobias in here. It did need it. It wasn't realistic to rev it out like that. I can explain more after the race. Fantastic, sir. I would appreciate getting educated. I love getting educated.
TG is definitely one of the ones to do that for you. He can fill you in on things. The stuff that comes from them is amazing. The only word I have for it.
Speaking of Tobias, typing all that in while he's driving around on track, getting ready to start a flying lap.
He does it all the time.
I don't understand.
I can't figure it out. I cannot figure out how he's able to pull it off, but it's regular. So again, very wet on track for this race today. We'll get to see how these Pro and Silver drivers handle the wet weather.
Can they get to the 130.8?
I'm really curious to see where our qual times start to land as the flying laps begin coming in. During practice, typically not the fastest laps. You'll see half second, 3/4 second gains during qualification. So I think we will hit the 130s with these guys, but just surprising that it wasn't a little bit higher than our AM and Pro-Am drivers.
Gasolina in the Orcapose BMW, I think, might be the person that's going to clock in our first time lap.
Gaz? Right there it is.
131.6. Setting the trend.
Purple in all three sectors so far. Lewis Ricard in with a 132.4. Aguilar with a 133, just about flat.
Max Sharp, I'm not sure the rev point. I do believe it was cut by about 500 RPMs between where the max revs were and or not max revs, shifting revs. So that might be one of those things to go hit the patch notes about. So 131.655 for Gasolino. Jake Wells about 0.3 off. Then we got Rickard. Yeah, they reduced the power to 7,500. There you go.
Gotcha.
So I guess maybe 8K is where it was originally. Anyway. Gasolina in the M4 in the wet. Strong around here, not shocked. Got 0.3 in the bucket. Anthony Anderson in the Maka goes to the top of the time sheet to 131.5.
For now, Gaz, you see on your screen there highlighted in purple, meaning he is faster than the fastest lap. He's up about 0.4 right now. We'll put him back up on pole position if he can hold on to this.
Now that's a smart idea from Max. I'll wait for TG's TED Talk. Can we get Tobias to throw together a sim racing TED Talk?
Oh yeah, he'd do it. He'd do it while he's sim racing. There it is, Gasolina back on top with a 131.272.
Getting close to those 30s.
Getting close, but nobody cracking it yet. Although I don't think we have fastest laps from a lot of people here at this point.
Kaminsky's got 1.1 in the tank. Jason Volker has 1.5 seconds.
Jake Wells going third with a 132. Just about breaking into the 131 range, but not quite yet.
a valuable asset. I imagine Tobias is very
He is. He is the he's the bot. He's the Discord bot that's not a bot.
Gasolina's got two. Well, actually, Nate Landland comes out of nowhere and throws it up in the P1 with a 31.252.
He does, but Gaz again. Gaz getting a little bit faster every lap. Now up 0.3 on that 252 from Nate Lamlin. See if he can hold on to it here.
Kevin Rivera's got a half second. Lewis Rickman's got 7/10. Got people that are starting to find some pace. I'm hoping it's going to turn into a spicy ball.
Gasolina, a silver class driver, currently leading this.
So Alex, the Lexus is really strong in my opinion. I used to main the Lexus for a long time. I mained it for well over a year, and I felt like it was a pretty good car, especially when you're on tracks where you're dealing with like usually big skid.
There we go. Gasolina still running up. Well, I got that 130.812. Tom Foose, the other 130 now today with an 830.
Yeah.
Only 2 drivers so far breaking into that 130 range, though.
Can we get to a 29?
I don't think we're going to see a 29 out of these guys.
Yeah, we don't have we don't have like oodles of time, but a 29 would be nice.
Tom Foose now showing purple. Just about a 10th up, so nothing fantastic yet. We'll see if he can hold on to it.
If anybody's kind of curious about Retro, talking about how the P car is the best wet car, for Retro, the P car is the best car for every situation. I'm pretty sure Retro would be buried in a Porsche if they would allow it.
Charlie Booth knocking one out. 137.55. Tom Foose showing purple on your screen. Yeah, Retro's a Porsche guy, but I will tell you, he uses that Porsche for everything, including getting blasted at Watkins Glen. It's still my favorite accident of all time. Of covering Box 3 races.
You're talking about the one at the top of the hill?
Yeah.
Man.
Poor guy got racked sideways and did the right thing, held his brakes and sat there, and the cars just kept a coming.
Yeah.
So it is still my favorite Box 3 incident of all time. Tom Foose now on top, 135.27. So the 130s are definitely getting there. More and more drivers hitting them. Let's see if Lamlin now into the pits. We'll see if he comes back out and is able to set a little bit faster lap, get himself into the 130s. Still plenty of time, just over 11 minutes left to go in today's qualifying session. Who's holding purple in sectors 2 and 3? Charlie Booth with sector 1. Go ahead, sir.
I was watching Jake Wells. He had about 8/10, but losing a little bit of it in sector 3. He ends up getting into the 31s. So, does have some pace in the car.
So those deltas up on the screen for people. Paul Morris now sitting on 1.8 seconds. Down in 18th at this point, but...
Yeah, I'm just looking at times now. Tobias Gable's got a second, which would be good for Tobias. He's sitting on a 33.0 right now.
He is, sitting about 9/10 up. Adam Willey up about 9/10 right now. Tom Foose setting a new fastest lap, got down to the 4.27 at the 1:30 mark. And still showing purple. He's still up a 10th. So again, to your point earlier, if these guys are getting their feet under them basically to make sure and get their fastest laps in. It seems like everybody's nudging a little faster every lap. Specifically Gasolina and Tom Foose able to tighten things up as they get as many of these in as possible during the qual session. Charlie Booth running behind right now.
I'm waiting to see if Charlie can these guys honest. 239 kph is the speed trap max right now, and that is Aguilar in the Nissan. Anthony Anderson with 237, Rickard with 237, Jake Wells with 236. Where is our pole sitter, though, right now? Our current pole sitter. Tom Foose is down there with 235. Most of the people running in 235 or higher.
Tom Foose is really wanting to break that 130 mark today.
Yeah, 130.2 is quick, and punching in at almost a half second faster than Gasolina. That is a healthy gap. So, going to see if Gasolina can tighten it up.
Tobias Gable able to get himself down to a 131.937. Has him just ahead of Aguilar, but Aguilar right now running 0.3 up. Might be taking that P11 back from Gable. Gasolina is going to be very disappointed when he ends up in pro next season.
Yeah, it's like Gasolina. Silver driver.
Yeah.
Wink, wink.
Nudge, nudge.
133 is off track. Taking it back to the pits. Aguilar.
Oh. Nate Lamlin now up 0.2.
Nate's got some.
It's gonna let him could get him ahead of Rombouts, possibly, you know, if he can hold on to that. Well, now 3 4/10 should definitely get him up into 4th. Not quite enough to tap Charlie Booth in 3rd right now.
PG was on a flyer. Got no delta now. Although he did like does have a little bit of pace relative to Alejandro.
Anthony Anderson currently sitting in 9th. Anderson, one of our faster pro drivers, has been doing well. He's currently sitting in 3rd in the standings. Won last week at Barcelona. But now, all the way down in P9, he's 0.2 up on his fastest. But maybe the rain taking the piss out of the McLarens today. Is that possible? Bill, is that,
I mean, they were strong in the Pro-Am split, and I mean, Charlie Booth's not that far off. I think the McLaren can be pretty strong around here. Nate Lamlin, 2nd fastest right now with a 30.647. I really feel like I expected to see M4s, McLarens, and Astons like higher, like at the top end of the field. The fact that we don't have Kaminsky like further up the order is kind of surprising, but seeing the M4s and the McLarens right now where they are, and Paul Morris in the Porsche 219, kind of somebody we haven't talked about at all. Get the P car up inside top 10. I'm not really kind of surprised by the wet weather outcomes that we're seeing timing scoring right now.
Okay. I just realized too, and looking down through the manufacturer list there, we're missing one of our Audis this week. Delilah Hazel not racing apparently. We do have Tobias Gable and Timothy Glendinning on course in the Audi. And again, it looks like maybe the Audi doesn't like the rain too much.
It's a tricky car at the best of times. So man, Gasolina putting the M4 in 300th second and Nate Lamb in 2nd place. 5 minutes, 33 seconds. He's got to get that setup figured out and get back out on track. Because I'm pretty sure you don't just drive out of the pits on ready to run tires. So gonna have to take a lap or two to get temperatures in.
Oh, we're getting close here. Charlie Booth up a 0.6 right now, showing him as purple if he can hold on to it. Might be about to knock Tom Foose out of that spot, and that would put him into the 129s. I didn't think we'd see one today. Maybe Charlie taking that as a personal attack, as he knows I would do to him, because he's from Australia. He's actually from New Zealand, but I tell him he's from Australia because it makes him upset.
Gotcha.
And there it is, Charlie Booth, a 130.025. Still no 129 today.
Yeah, I think a 29 is possible. 29 is possible.
I don't think we're going to see one.
Got 210s. Tom Foose got 210s, man.
He does. Nah, Tom.
He's got 210.
Oh, he's backing it down, though.
Yep, exiting Sterling Moss and just losing a little bit of time. Can he squeak it out? Going down the start-finish straight.
And he needs the 2/10 to beat Charlie and does not get it. 1:30.055.
Yep, 300ths of a second. He can take another shot. He's got time.
And he's going to, too, and already pushing a little bit of purple. Now he's close enough that 1/10 is all he needs.
Jake Wells is about to punch up the order. Goes third fastest.
Wow. The Wells climbing back up there, 1:36.07. Oh, and Tom Foose stops and back to the pits now.
He does have time for maybe a quick setup change, maybe get back out on track. But he's got to move.
Yeah, he's got to be wicked fast if that's the goal. Tom Foose into the pits. Charlie Booth currently in pole position.
Jake Wells a little out of sorts on the exit of Graham Hill. I think might have invalidated his lap. Maybe he's just going to kind of around, try and get reset for another flyer. Tom Foose is running.
He's invalidated, so Tom Foose back out. Wyardi Rombouts and Paul Morris both also invalidated right now, along with Rob Kesar. Booth running 3/10 down on his fastest.
Kesar actually stuck off track right now. Exit Graham Hill.
Got himself into the top 10 though, so Kesar doing all right today.
Yep, silver category drivers in the top 10 right now. Actually, Gasolina, we got Rickard, and Aguilar just pipped Kesar to get inside the top 10. So,
yep,
still a good showing though. Up towards the front end of things. Gotta be happy about that. So Mr. Wells going to take another shot at it. I'm taking a look at the deltas right now. Gasolina's got 2/10. Jake Wells got 1/10, getting ready to go into turn 1. Gasolina might be able to eke 2/10 out of this. 2/10 ain't gonna be enough for pole, but it'd be enough for P3.
Jake Wells with 2/10 right now as well.
Yep.
There you go. Gasolina jumping up into third.
Timothy Glendening. Glendening's got 2/10. Kaminsky's got a half second. Just looking at the deltas, trying to figure out what's what.
Matt Kaminsky sitting in 21st right now is very odd.
Yeah, it's I thought the Aston would just be stronger around here in the wet. Wells got 2/10.
Tom Foose showing purple with 1/10 of a second right now. We may get to see it. Tom went in and made that adjustment and back out. This may be the one that puts him back up on pole ahead of Charlie Booth.
He's going to have to figure it out in sector 2, sector 3 right now, because his sector 1 time was pretty lackluster when it finally reported. He does have a 10th, though, getting ready to go into Surtees.
No, he's lost it now. Oh, I believe he scrubbed. I think he might have scrubbed his lap. Jake Wells with 3/10 though.
And 3/10 would put Jake ahead of Gasolina. Put him on. Yep, there you go.
There we go. So now Tom Foose, with a minute left. Did he finish that lap? No. Why is it? And now he's down 3/10. So it had taken his time away. I don't know why it had gone away, but.
So here's the thing. If he gets around, he's got 40 seconds to get to the line. He's got plenty of time. Is he going to take another swing at it now? He's got one more shot at this. Rumbouts has got a 10th. Nate Lamlin's got a 10th. Paul Morris has got a 10th.
Looks like Tom Foose will be staying out. Going to run another one. Now he's got somebody ahead of him, though. I think they just went sailing off into the Toolies. Oh, that's going to mess him up, possibly. Had to swerve around a driver coming up the hill.
That's unfortunate. That is probably it for Tom. Actually, you know what? He's even on Delta right now. If he can get to the Sector 2 start line and really unlock some pace in Sector 2, Sector 3 right now, because that's where he's losing it. There's about a 2/10 between Charlie Booth and Tom Foose in Sector 2, Sector 3s respectively. So let's see if Tom can really make it work. Jake Wells is in the pits. He's calling it done. He will Potentially, yeah, he's going to definitely start in front of Gasolina in P3. Lewis Rickard's got 3/10.
I was going
That
to say,
could be
yeah,
enough.
Rickard's got 3/10. There was Rocky Rocco had 3/10, but now has dropped off and will be heading back to the pits. Charlie Booth, though. Charlie Booth showing purple again.
Yeah, he's going to extend. He's going to extend a little bit.
So maybe we get your 129.
Yeah, Foose is out of it. He's it's over. So Charlie Booth, is he gonna try and push for more? Nah, he's
into the pits.
Going.
He goes.
He's going. He's going. And man, is he lagging? Holy cow!
Have you ever seen his ping?
Oh my God!
He's in New Zealand. I don't know how he's even online.
That car was moving in some kind of way going to the pits. That was kind of spooky.
Moving in some kind of way.
Yeah. All right, let's make sure. Yeah.
There you have it, folks. The lines are set. We are getting ready for under 45 minutes of racing. Coming up here in just a few moments. Charlie Booth and Tom Foose will share row 1. Jake Wells, Gasolina in row 2. Artie Rombouts, Nate Lamlin, row 3. Tobias Gable and Louis Ricard in row 4. Anthony Anderson qualing down a little bit further than expected. Going to share row 5 with Paul Morris. Kevin Rivera, Alejandro Aguilar, row 6. Rob Kesar, Timothy Glendinning, row 7. Rocky Rocco and Jarrett Skinner, row 8. Adam Willie, Matt Comiskey, row 9. Jason Woolworth and Rick Pixel, row 10. Igor Kornikov, Nikolai Tsiabuk, row 11, and Nick Paquin and Ridian Lloyd Davis, who did not qualify today, going to share row 12. Bringing it all together. Let's go. Again, folks, just got to keep in mind, we're back next week for Season 5's continuation on Sunday. Coming back out to the Nürburgring. We will have 45-minute AM and Pro-Am race, a 60-minute Pro and Silver race at the Nürb next week. And in just a little less than 2 weeks, join us right here at Box 3 Motorsports with Trackalicious, Box 3, and 949 Sim Racing, bringing the last round of the Endurance Sequel Series. 12 hours at Mount Panorama on February 18th. Kicks off at 1 p.m. UTC. Cannot wait for that. Not wait for that. So much fun. And that time, that race, everybody's going to get to watch Phil. We are going to put the camera on Phil's car the whole time he's in the car and just focus on him the whole time.
That sounds fantastic.
You're going to have to realize everybody on the internet is watching you drive at Mount Panorama.
Everybody on the internet. Everybody on the internet.
Well, we're live right now. There's no reason to be doing anything else on the internet.
Facts, true facts.
Not even why would it even be an option for somebody?
A Gasolina says, I'm gambling on dry pressures. Yes, you are. Yes, you are. Now, here's the thing. Okay, so Gasolina just brings that up, and I go peek over at the weather, and in 30 minutes we got dry. Got no rain in 30 minutes.
Really?
Decreasing rain in 10, going from medium to light rain, and then dry weather in 30 minutes. Now, here's the thing, though, Gaz. You got a pit stop in there somewhere, brother. So, good luck.
10-minute window, so it'll open at 17 and a half, right? Yeah, okay. And a 10-minute window, that's only taking you to 27 minutes. If we're shutting down rain in 30, somebody's going to make... I wonder if somebody's going to be making the call to put the slicks on, and who's going to put the slicks on and who's going to stay on wets.
Oh, anybody that starts the race on slicks is...
No.
Rocks in their heads.
Well, no, not start the race. I'm saying the pit stop. Because the pit window is going to close at 27 and a half minutes. You're saying in 30 minutes, rain's gone.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
So if I'm watching the weather in game, what's your call there? You try to get in right at the end of the window so you don't miss your pit window. And you've got to do at least 2 or 3 laps on slicks in still wet weather. Then the track has to dry out.
Yeah.
20 seconds.
I think so. What Gaz is talking about is gambling on dry pressures, but with wet compounds. From what it sounds like,
10 seconds.
Which could be interesting. Like it could be. Yeah, it could be interesting. The thing is that there's going to be an inflection point where the track is going to go into. Oh, we got a pit starter. That was P.
Nate Lamlin.
6. Oh man, that's
Nate Lamlin drop into the pits. Wow.
Maybe that's strategic. Could be a smart play. Seen Nate pull that kind of trick before. So
we call that shenanigans around here.
yeah, the thing with the pressures and trying to nail when to be on the right compound, when to be on the right pressures, it's going to be fat old Pixel, me. I'm in the pits.
Yeah, Rick Pixel in the pits as well, starting out.
Interesting.
Oh. So now let me ask you this then. Okay, so let's pretend for a minute the pit window closes 27 and a half minutes. The rain's going to stop at 30. Is it a better play to then do sort of what Gaz is talking about in that sort of condition where you go out on the wets, but you're going to use those dry pressures?
Well, I mean, the thing is that if the track takes a long time to dry out and he can constantly dip into the wet that remains on the track surface, that could be a really, really sound strategy. We are dealing with temperature-wise, so it is 5 a.m. for race start, 18 degrees on track. It's not going to dry that fast, so I wouldn't be shocked if the dry pressures on wet weather tires is the play. Yeah, it could work out. Gaz might have his finger on the pulse of what's right. We'll have to wait and see. But that said, you can spend a lot of time wrapping your head around being on the right compound, being on the right pressures. You still got to not drive off the track or run into anybody for 45 minutes. So being on the right tires does help, but also making sure that you're keeping yourself like calm, eyes forward, ready for any kind of shenanigans that might happen out in front of you.
Absolutely.
It'll be interesting.
Gaz, all I ask of you today is this: beat Charlie Booth.
All right. Well, no favoritism in this booth. But that said, it's gonna be interesting. So the order is gonna reshuffle a little bit because we had Lamlin start at the pits. They're getting ready to go through Clark Curve right now to start the lap off.
Yeah, they've dropped off at this point through the standings. Tom Foose now in second, Gasolina in third. So both those guys having opportunity to start with a podium. We'll see if they can finish with it.
That'd be interesting.
We wait for the green lights here. We'll get this 45-minute race kicked off, ladies and gentlemen.
Green light, go, go, go.
We are green at Brands Hatch in the rain. Charlie Booth leads the charge downhill. Tom Foose, Jake Wells right there. Gasolina not far back as these guys button in tight. Wells and Foose about banging doors through the first corner.
Wells just being the bravest on the brakes into Paddock Hill and trusting Tom Foose's track awareness.
Absolutely.
Paid off. Go ahead, sir.
Sorry, I was just going to say Aguilar sliding back. Paul Morris showing contact, but I believe it's a misnomer. There's no other cars showing any contact there, so we do have something going on back here. Yeah, we got cars off the track back here. Number 315, number 29, number 139, and number 447. Rick Pixel able to get himself up into 22nd. Excuse me, after starting in the pits with the tussle back there. Alejandro Aguilar moving up into P11. A little bit of shenanigans starting off, but nothing too bad. Jake Wells has taken up P2 over Tom Foose now.
Yeah, good start from Jake. Good start from Jake. Very interested to see how this plays out because Tom Foose is right on his gearbox.
Anthony Anderson and Louis Ricard touching something on each other. Not enough to send either one off track, however. Anderson chasing Ricard down now. Boy, Anderson just trying to tuck it right up under there, backing off through T1.
It's gonna be tough. The field has not spread out quite enough yet. Still in a situation where a rear lockup or something like that could spell disaster for a number of people.
Yeah. Rivera and Aguilar. It's always very interesting that I get shown contact on one driver and not any others. Hornikoff and Seabook showing contact back here. Adam Lilly and Woolworth both able to get around. Oh, where's Rivera going? Rivera spun backwards now off the side of the track. See if we can back it up. Oh, and got tangled up bad. Wow.
Oh, man. And he is... Oh. And he is...
NSX is not going to be feeling good about itself. Trying to finish off that lap.
And the tough part is it's where he went off track at. Cresting the hill at Pilgrim's Drop. Like, it's just... You're at the crest of a hill. Like nobody can see. Now, hopefully, people saw the yellow indicators fast enough to react. I know there was at least one person who was unlucky for sure. Kind of curious to see how that plays out. Definitely going to be some people pitting, possibly before the pit window to try and get some repairs.
And Charlie Booth decides to wait for the race to hit the 129s, but you did get your wish, sir. 129.920, our fastest lap so far today.
It doesn't count, Charlie, because it's less rain than it was in quali. But that's okay. Thank you for trying.
Yeah.
Car wrecked at the top of the hill. I can relate.
Yeah, right.
I mean, to be honest, Retro, if Webster's Dictionary did actually have like references for phrases like getting yeeted at the top of a hill, it would just be a picture of your Porsche going into the fence at Watkins.
Yeah, we call that getting retroed.
That is oh wow, Anthony Anderson trying to find his way around Rickard in the 96 AMG.
Yes, he is.
Tight battling between these two.
Had it backed off a little bit last lap. We were looking elsewhere, but now Anderson's brought it right back. The back end of Ricard.
Yeah. Booth right now.
Just real quick, sorry, I got to say though, Ricard doing a great job. A silver driver holding off one of the pros. And so far, this is the second lap this is happening. So far doing a great job with that.
1/10 between them, man. Barely fit a sheet of paper. 1.4 seconds between Booth and Wells right now. Meanwhile, Tom Foose is not letting Jake Wells get too far away. Let's double check through the order now. Anthony Anderson, still 3/10 between him and Rickard. Half second between Tom Foose and Jake Wells. Comiskey in the number 5. Only 3/10 off Glendenning. One of the three Audi entries in this field right now. 39 minutes, 53 seconds left in the race.
Jared Skinner able to pull up P11 from Rob Kesar.
Yep.
Brittany Lloyd Davis getting ahead of Jason Woolworth for P18 right now. But this battle right here, also keeping an eye a little further up. Jake Wells still leading Tom Foose. That gap's been sitting at about 3 to 4 tenths for 2 or 3 laps now. So no real closure there. Foose a little bit slower on his last lap by about a tenth and a half.
So damp is the current track conditions, and rain should be stopped from what the radar is saying in 10.
Okay.
Which is
fantastic for us.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. Like it's like depending on how dry it stays, how the cloud cover, if it can keep the moisture on track and stuff. Gasolina's strategy could work out well. It could work out poorly because if the track goes to green at any point in time, it doesn't matter what its pressures are in those wet weather tires. Those things are going to turn into tomatoes.
Here we go, Nate Lamlin looking for the play on Davis. Able to sneak around.
On the inside, just easy setup.
Great pass there, nice and clean. Timothy Glendenning under pressure from Comiskey. Anderson continuing to apply pressure to Ricard. Paul Morris sitting out there in his Porsche, that number 219 Porsche, saying, you know what, just everybody leave me alone, I'm good. As he runs
leave me alone.
P9 right now. Nice gap all the way around corner.
And Wells has pulled a little bit of a gap on Foose now. It's up to 1.084. Gasolina within a second of Tom Foose, just kind of like sitting back. The thing about Gasolina right now is he can kind of just manage his pace right now because he's got like almost 4 seconds between him and Rickard's got Anderson all over him like a bad rash. So I think if I'm Gasolina, like kind of adopts the Josie Austin strategy from previous race. It's like find a number and hit it.
Yeah. Well, we saw how well that worked. I mean, you can't deny the results of that. So another 129 from Charlie Booth. So definitely running with it right now. Jake Wells and Tom Foose also both hitting 129s, just skirting under that 130 mark. Both those guys in the 129 range now.
So Rocco within half a second now of Kezar in the 992 Porsche. Rocco, another pro class driver, trying to battle his way through the silver pack. He's still got 3 silver drivers ahead of him. 2 of them are pretty far ways ahead of him, so just trying to get every last position he can find.
Right now, I pulled focus on Igor Kornikov. He's got Nikolai Tsiolbuk and Nate Lamlin right there.
Yeah. Nate's got to play it smart here. Traffic is bundling up into Surtees. It's going to be tricky. Lamlin off track. He might have gone to the wall with it.
I saw foam fly, at least. Oh, and somebody else off track behind them. Who is that? Was that Rivera? Lamlin and Woolworth come together. Ridley and Lloyd Davis off track. Getting spun back there. Let's see if we can catch it. Yeah, not quite, but whatever.
I think Lamlin managed to keep it out of the wall, which is...
Yeah, it looked like he took out the foam, but that was all he hit. I don't think he actually bounced the wall at all.
Yeah, that is going to be important.
Anthony Anderson showing contact, but nobody off track. He has backed off the card a little bit, now starting to tighten up as both these guys catch up to Tobias Gable. Tom Foose now setting the fastest lap, 129.435.
Yeah, track is starting to get a little bit faster. Like I think with the wets on track and the drop in rain, we're starting to see them pump the water off the surface of the track.
Okay.
It's starting to get really, it's starting to get faster. The track's really starting to the pace is starting to come down. It's kind of what you want to see.
Tobias Gable holding Ricard and Anderson at bay.
Real quick, I just want to hop over, just to give you an idea of what we're talking about in terms of pace delta. It's really not that big in terms of like max top speed. Tobias Gable did clock in at 239 in the Audi. No shocking thing there. Fastest lap was, or the fastest speed in qualifying was about 237. So about 2 kph up on where we were in the qualifying session.
As you said, already starting to dry out a little bit quicker. Anderson found his gap around Ricard.
And this is a tough area to, this is a tough area to execute the pass. Going into sector 3, really tricky. But he does find his way through Dingledale and through Sheens. Gets the pass good and in the books by the time he hits Sterling Moss, and now headed down the start-finish straightaway into 8th.
Or Jake Wells, the minute he gets a new fastest lap, Tom Foose is right there to take it away from him by about 0.2 every time. So I'm kind of surprised at this point that Foose has not started to close that gap on Wells. The last 2 laps were he was about 0.2 faster for both of them. Anderson now going to be the one applying the pressure to Gable. Paul Morris has now caught up with Lewis Ricard. Woolworth and Lamlin coming together back further.
And see, again, this kind of goes back to what I was talking about with Gasolina. Just manage pace. Hit your number, because, I mean, he's 4 seconds ahead of Rumbouts.
Yeah.
And he's got, like, what is that? 8, almost 9 seconds to... actually almost 10 seconds to Rickard. So just manage your pace. Nail your pit stops. 315's off track. That's Lloyd Davis.
And Anderson's able to take Gable. Blew himself up into P6 now as Paul Morris and Lewis Ricard battle right behind him. We find ourselves in a situation where we've got 4 drivers starting to stack up here.
Yeah. and it's going to bring Aguilar in the mix if they keep scrapping like this. Wells is in the lead of this race.
How did that happen?
That's a good question. I just saw it. Like I was looking at the track map and I was like, wow, it's interesting how Wells is really close to Booth, but Booth's behind him.
He wasn't anywhere near him. Booth must have spun or gone off track.
Here, actually, I'll take a look at the lap deltas.
Okay. Yeah, give us an idea of what might have happened because they were nowhere near each other. There was no, you know.
He almost clocked in at a 131 last lap. He had to have an off. So
more than likely didn't spin, but at least dipped a toe into the grass and was enough to unsettle the car and give Wells the opportunity. So Jake Wells now leads this race. It happened just that quickly. We had no idea that they were even within a second of each other, and the next thing you know, Charlie Booth is no longer in the lead here at Brands Hatch today.
Looking right now, it looks like the wet weather is still supposed to end in it says in 10, but it's been sitting on stopping in 10. Actually, it just stopped. So
oh yeah, it did. And
just
contact between Nikolai Tsiabuk and Igor Kornikov.
Are they teammates?
I believe so. 951 and the 159 cars.
So now it starts to get interesting because we're going to get closer to that pit window. We are in these mixed conditions right now, and I'm looking at the radar. I don't see any indication that we're going to get any rain by the end of this race. So the track is going to go through a transition period. I'm kind of curious how many people are going to dive straight to the pits once the window opens. Well, I think that's the play. That's the play.
So what do we got? Yeah, we got another 3 minutes or so. So call another 2 laps, 2 to 3 laps before the pit window opens.
Yep.
So do you play that to go in immediately, get slicks on, get them up to pressure, or you know, do you gauge each time you come around the circuit as okay, this was still wet enough that I'm going to stay out one more lap?
I really feel like if it were me making the call, because I'm not a driver on the caliber of most of these guys, I'd probably wait until the first person goes in the pits and then try and see if I can get a read on the reference of what their flying laps would be. So that would be probably upwards of 2 to 3 laps after the first person takes a pit stop.
Okay.
I really feel like with how long this track is going to be without rain, that I really feel like somebody is gonna. I feel like somebody's gonna take the risk, and I feel like somebody's gonna be better off for doing it.
Gotcha.
We're gonna see. We're gonna find out here in a little bit. So, if it were me, given my skill level, I would wait. But if I were fast, if I were Tom Foose, if I were Anthony Anderson, the second that clock turned on, I'd be in the pits.
We shall see when these guys start dropping in. Adam Willey already headed into the pits. Further back.
Window's not open, so Willey must have had some damage or something to deal with.
Yeah, he looks like he might be in there a good long time. Nate Lamlin ended up. Maybe Nate did catch the wall. Nate Lamlin ended up with a 185-second pit stop.
Yeah, that is a run-in with the ball.
Yep, Nick Paquin into the pits now. So
9/10 between Wells and... Go ahead.
The window going to open here in about 20 seconds, right? I'm thinking right?
They're
no,
about...
minute and 20. Minute and 20.
Yeah.
Somewhere in there.
So,
Go ahead, sir.
Yeah, I'm looking at the delta between the top 4 right now. Man, 9/10 between Booth and Wells, 8/10 between Foose and Booth, half second between Gasoline and Foose. Like it's these all 4 of these drivers really within striking distance. We could end up after a pit stop having a completely jumbled up order for the top 4.
100%, depending on who hits their pit stop when and how well they do. When the gaps are this narrow, it's only going to take a half a set. It's going to take you overshooting the box by 1 foot, and that extra time it takes you to back in and it lifts you right up, right? That half a second is all it's going to take.
Yeah, Yeah, it could be down to not hitting your marks. It could be to having a mistake on pit entry. It could be getting slowed down by a fight on pit exit. There's a lot of things that could factor into what happens next.
I know this. I think by the end of this race, it's going to get spicy like it did on us at Barcelona last week.
Yeah, it could. It could. with the track evolution that we're going to be experiencing now that the rain has stopped. I definitely feel like you're going to have some people that get the call right that are going to be trying to find their way around some people that got the call wrong, and it's just going to be good action for people to watch at home.
Absolutely, and the pit window is now open.
Yep.
As Nate Lamlin gets himself ahead of Igor Kornikov. Kornikov's still battling with Nikolai Tsiabuk in the number 951 car. But the main battle right now is right here between Louis Ricard and Paul Morris for P8. You guys have stayed within half a second of each other here for the last good number 4 or 5 laps. Yeah, pretty much. Jake Wells with the new fastest lap.
18 minutes.
887.
That's Rumbouts.
Yep, and there we go. Louis Ricard heading in to the pits as well.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I'm thinking if I'm someone like Rumbouts, I think that's the play.
Well, we have now hit the 128s, sir.
Yeah, I think the track evolution is going to be. I think it's going to be big, but we'll see how wrong I am.
Well, we're going to see right as things happen right here because, like you said, Jake Wells stretching out a little bit now. Got 1.5 seconds over Charlie Booth. Tom Foose within a second. Gasolina within 7/10 as these guys come around. Pit window's open. They're going to have to start diving in at some point, obviously, right?
Yeah.
And again, it's going to take missing your mark. It's going to take bad entry. To your point, coming out, depending on who you get hung up behind when you come back out, right? So.
Yeah, Blue. I feel like drives the play here.
Yeah.
If the weather that was on the radar at the start of this race had hold, I felt like Gasolina's strategy of under pressuring wets could be the play. But given that the weather changed, it swung so heavily towards drying. I think dry tires are the ones to be on. So Rumbouts is just now headed towards Hawthorne. So we don't have enough data yet to determine what Rumbouts' time is going to be. But if he ends up even being in the 28s, then these guys that are on the wets need to get on dry tires.
100%.
It doesn't even look like there's much of a wet line anywhere on track. So I don't know how these guys are maintaining temperature in these tires.
I was gonna say it doesn't look like the track dried out very quickly because I'm not seeing any indicators as we follow this battle of a wet. There's no more spray, right? I'm seeing no spray off the vehicles. I'm not seeing puddles. It looks like this track just like the water just evaporated very quickly.
I'm waiting to see. I'm waiting to see what Rumbouts times look like when he comes across them.
Just started a new lap, so we're going to see his last lap at 134.9, but that was an out, right?
It could have been. I would actually bet it was probably closer to 2 if it was an out lap, but let me check. I'm going to actually just go over it.
There we go. Booth and Foose both into the pits. Just like that, Gasolina stays out. Now take up position 2.6 back from Jake Wells.
Yeah, 221 was the out. That was the in lap. No, the out lap was 34.9. So we're going to get to see from Rumbouts like what's the real deal.
Yep.
In terms of like what the dry tires have got. In fact, I need to double check. Let me see if I can find out what tires he's been on.
Lots of drivers hitting now. Charlie Booth, Tom Foose, Jarrett Skinner, Glendenning, Keesar, all into the pits.
So he is on dry. So,
he is on dries?
Rumbouts did pull the trigger for dries.
Well, we'll stick with him right here as he finishes this lap to see what he runs on this one. Foose and Booth both back out at the same time. Tom Foose ahead of Charlie Booth. So Foose able to cut some time. Drive in, drive out was about a second faster for Tom Foose. And pit sit time was about a second faster. And he comes out about 7/10 ahead now, 8/10 ahead of Charlie Booth.
So 130 for Rumbout. So looks like the call is correct right now if you are on wets. But the thing is, if you're going into the pits, you're going to come out on dries.
Yeah.
Jake Wells going into the pits. Gasolina with those dry pressured wets. We're going to see how he keeps it together. Let me actually look at his last lap.
Wells, Gable, and Aguilar, along with Paul Morris, now all head in.
So Gasolina's times are thereabouts around where he was previously. So 29s, 29.5s. So let's see what Gaz can do on this lap. So I'm just going to keep my eye on Gaz as we're watching the other drivers pulling the trigger on their pit stops. So Booth and Tom Foose swap places after the pit stop.
Wells is now out, and Foose able to get ahead.
Yeah, I think I'm going to go look at Wells' time. I think he might have.
Yeah, he struggled. He 35 seconds to Tom Foose's 32.4 sitting from what I'm showing. But Tom Foose able to get ahead of both Jake Wells and Charlie Booth during that pit stop. As you see on your screen there, Gasolina heading in, Anderson, Comiskey, and Seabook all needing to hit the pits yet.
Tom Foose came out of the pits with a 1:59.4. That is a fast stop. Holy cow. So Gasolina's in the pits right now. Track is switched to greasy, so dries are the call now. Like, because of the track condition, dries are the call.
Yep.
You definitely do not want to come out on wet weather tires with the track being greasy with 20 minutes, 36 seconds left on the clock. You'll be driving around on rims.
Yeah. And needing to go right back in to change your tires again. So.
Yeah.
The Anderson now will lead this pack, and Comiskey, Gasolina, and Seabook all into the pits. So now Anderson, the only one left to clear that pit stop.
Let's look at Anderson's last laps. So Anderson's hit the inflection point. But the inflection point for Anderson may be, like, he's hit around where I would put, like, Wells's inflection, 130. His inflection point may be a little bit different because his average lap times are about 130.
So, I got to interrupt you real quick here.
Go for it.
How about Gaz, the silver driver, coming out ahead of Tom Foose out from the pits?
I mean, he was hitting 129.5s. I don't know what to tell you.
It's just, I mean, again, the way this got jumbled up from this pit stop is unbelievable.
Yeah. And Tom Foose had a phenomenal pit stop.
Mm-hmm.
Phenomenal. Like I'm surprised to see Gasolina make up that kind of time. It could come down to a shoddy outlap. There could be a number of factors for why that worked out that way. If I look at Gasolina's time, a 58.9. That's how. That's how.
Wow.
Like that's how he did it.
Wow.
That's this is nuts. Like, these guys have just got their pit procedures like just nailed down. It's like a
Gaz certainly does, and now Anderson into the pits, but Gaz is going to have to deal with Tom Foose right there. Excuse me, for the remainder of this race.
Gasolina's
and Jake Wells
dries.
Jake Wells not that far back either.
Wells lost everything time on pit stops. Anthony Anderson in the pits now. I don't suspect he is going to jump out in front of anybody.
No, it doesn't look like it. Charlie Booth getting around, so we'll see where he comes out ahead of, if he comes out ahead of Rumbouts or not.
Yeah, Rumbouts is in the 29s now, and if I look at his average lap times.
Anderson out. Looks like he's coming out ahead of Gable by about 1 second, about 1.8 back from Rumbouts after the pit stop.
So staying out on the wets for Anderson was not beneficial. Rumbouts did make up about a second a lap, at least for 2 laps on Anderson, so definitely cut into some time.
Take a look at our position deltas here with pit stops completed now. Gasolina up 3 spots on the day so far. Tom Foose, Jake Wells both flat. Charlie Booth down 3 after the pit stop showing. What was Charlie Booth's pit time, if you don't mind me asking, sir?
Charlie Booth's pit time was, where you at, Mr. Booth? Mr. Booth. A 1 minute point 459. So I would put that about 2 seconds longer than what Gaz was putting in.
Gotcha.
So he lost 2 seconds relative to Gaz. He lost almost 1 second relative to Foose. And the gap between him and Wells, I guess, was big enough that Wells was able to stay out in front.
Awesome. I did ask for Gasolina to beat Charlie Booth today. So, I'm just saying.
Well, I'd be very interested what the software's predicting right now.
Well, we're going to find out. New fastest lap from Tom Foose, 128 and 777s. Anthony Anderson up 3 spots on the day. Charlie Booth sets a new fast one, 128.5. Jarrett Skinner doing very well, up 5 spots. Hornikoff and Seabook both up 6, with Nate Lamlin being the biggest loser so far today, with down 11 spots during the course of this race.
Just bad luck for Nate. Like getting the not hitting drive, which could have been strategic. I mean, given the calamity that we did see towards the back of the field, that could have been strategic. But I mean, he qualified pretty well. If he could have stayed up at the front of this, might be a little bit of a different story for Nate. Hoping to see him back to his quick ways at Nürburgring.
Well, it is getting spicy up front. Tom Foose and Jake Wells both able to get around Gasolina, now running bumper to bumper back uphill. And software predicting Tom Foose with the position changes. Tom Foose going to come out on top here with Jake Wells and Gasolina all on podium.
Interested to see what Gasolina's time is when he comes across the line. He's already back on the bumper of Jake Wells.
Almost looked like he wanted him on the outside right there, but not quite.
Gasolina had a tragic lap, 130.327 relative to this field, so it is definitely down to some sort of mistake on track. Meanwhile, the person who's making dividends on pace right now, 127.862 Rumbouts.
Rumbouts sets the new fastest lap in the first 127 of the day.
In the Chonda.
I doubt it'll be our last 127. Charlie Booth's been nipping him down too. He was just above the 128 mark at .002. So Gaz and Wells contact, it looks like, between Gaz and Wells. Charlie Booth able to... Wait a minute, we're going back 30 seconds. I want to see this little maneuver. See Jake Wells there in the center of your screen. Gasolina right behind him. Charlie Booth bringing up the rear. Wells with a little shimmy on the curb, but not enough to lose anything. And right there, contact. Wells goes sliding as Gasolina puts a tap on his rear bumper. And in Gasolina looking to do the right thing and give the spot back, allowed Charlie Booth to slide through, but now Booth has allowed them both back ahead.
What has happened?
Exactly, that's what we just saw.
I don't understand.
But by the time the 30-second replay is over, Charlie Booth has now given P2 back to Jake Wells and Gasolina. Now, don't misunderstand. Gaz knew he tapped Wells, right? He wants to give the spot back. I don't know why Charlie would, though. I guess I get why he would, but at the same time, he didn't hit anybody. He got to capitalize on the mistake that happened, right? He wasn't involved in it. So I mean, from what I could see, I didn't think he was involved. He wasn't anywhere near him. So that's why I was wondering like why he would give that back. Aguilar now going to feel pressure from Paul Morris for P9.
And Paul's been kind of running a really quiet race. Just keeping it inside the top 10 in the 219 Porsche. Got some traffic to navigate around. Actually, that's just Rickard, I think. Is Rickard on the wrong tire? Like, that was a big slide from the AMG.
But both Aguilar and Morris go right around him.
Ooh, Skinner's off track in the 9.7. Or that might have been Was that Skinner or Woolworth?
It's Woolworth sitting offside 315 car.
Oh man, he and his race is probably done because he doesn't even have a pit stop to get to the end of the race, like, and the window's shut. So S in chat for Woolworth.
Jake Wells continues to lead Gasolina in P2. Charlie Booth has backed off now, a bit of a gap behind Gasolina.
Paul Morris, half second from Aguilar. Rocco about 8/10 from Glendenning. Looks like Comiskey's race is coming back to him. If he can continue to unlock some pace, maybe he can catch up to Glendenning by the end.
Comiskey running good, 130.2s, I should say. Jake Wells sets the new fastest, 127.405. We do keep seeing that come down. Aguilar and Morris starting another lap together. Overall, great racing today, though. We got to see the weather change. The drivers deal with that. I will say, I think it was a rather easy one for them, right? Given the timing of the rain stoppage and the pit window opening. I really think it lined itself up pretty well.
Yeah,
so.
I definitely think that's kind of what happened. If I were Woolworth right now, even though you can't necessarily pit to the regs, if you're on wet tires, just pit, get the drives, and just try and finish the race out.
So did he stay out?
Yeah, he does not have a clear pit.
Well, no, but I'm saying he did stay out on the wet tires.
Let's double check. I'll go make sure I'm not talking out of school.
And there we get our first 126 of the day from Jake Wells, 126.722.
No, he's on dries.
Is he? Okay.
So I'm kind of curious what happened there. Did he not check fuel? Like, I'm just kind of curious what happened.
Tobias Gable going wide. Aguilar able to sneak around the inside as we cross the line one more time. Paul Morris trapped behind him. Oh, and Morris sliding.
Oh, and he's going to catch the AMG. Oh, it's unfortunate. That right there was just straight up Porsche things. Like, once I saw the back end of it snap and once I saw the correction, I was like, that's not good.
So Louis Ricard dropping now 3 spots as Paul Morris spins himself out and catches Lewis up in it.
Yeah, and Rickard, I mean, that was just unfortunate timing. Like, all Morris was trying to do was just keep it out of the wall. I don't think he had the intention to actually drive back out on track. It's just the overcorrect with the Porsche. And now Rickard is within, 5-6 seconds. Kaminsky's 5-6 seconds back now.
Yep, about 6.4 I show. Tom Foose continuing to lead the race after the pit stop shenanigans of just everybody getting out ahead, and the entire top 4 basically all changed after the pit stops. It was insane.
Pit stops were the story here, man. Yeah. Tom Foose with that 59, and then Gasolina with a 58.4. Like, that's just unreal stuff, man. I'm kind of curious. I would like to know how many hours Gasolina puts into this game to be able to come to Brands Hatch, do a fuel and tire change, get out 58.4 while the track conditions are changing. Like, that's just that's just silly.
And with these changing track conditions, holding his own amongst the pro drivers. Now, he just dropped to P4 overall, but he's still first in class with a significant gap back to number 2, Timothy Glendenning. And so, really, great race today for him.
Yeah, I mean, he's silver driver, wink, wink. But I know he's done fantastic. Done fantastic. And like I was kind of like predicting from a strength perspective, we got M4 Maka M4 up at the front of this. So in these mixed conditions, they definitely benefited from one another. Or not benefited from one another, but benefited from the conditions.
Jake Wells with a new fastest lap. These guys keep knocking them in one after another. 126, 132. Do we see a 125 today?
I think it's entirely possible. The track is still drying. There's still a few chunks of the track where you've got a little bit of dampness, but by and large, the track hasn't. I don't even know if the track's stopped per se. I should probably check that out. Yeah, it's still greasy. The track isn't even fast yet.
Oh, wow. Jason Woolworth into the pits now. Making another stop. This is... Oh, is this his third or fourth pit stop today?
Yeah, it's just been a tough race for Woolworth.
Rick Pixel into the pits 3 times today, too.
I'm just hoping that Nürburgring is a little bit kinder on everyone. Larger runoff areas for a good chunk of the track, so should not be near the tight, twisty nature of British GT circuit. So Tom Foos right now, man, he is in the lead to the tune of a second, but Wells is putting in some bangers.
Tom, there it is, our first 125 of the day, 125.997 from Foos, and immediately taken by Charlie Booth at a 6.95.
Yeah, almost 3/10.
Wow.
No, 3/10, almost to 2/1000 of a second, 3/10. So definitely starting to see some track evolution. Glendinning within 0.6 of Morris. Morris able to keep it inside the top 10 after that moment at Paddock Hill.
Morris having a great race today. Rocky Rocco getting ahead of Glendinning now. Positioning himself to possibly make a run at Morris. Only a 1.5 seconds between them with 6 minutes left to go.
Oh, it says rain in 30. Doesn't matter, but that would have been funny. Getting a transition like that would have been bonkers.
Right in the last 5 minutes of the race, it would have been fantastic.
Yeah.
Matt Comiskey sliding down the order. Rob Kiesar, Nikolai Tsiabuk both getting around. Contact on Kiesar. But right now, keeping an eye on Paul Morris, Tobias Gable. Morris able to make the play around. Jake Wells setting another fastest lap today. Morris opening it up over Tobias Gable. I think Tobias struggling off into the grass. Now Rocky Rocco able to get around and get himself into the top 10. A little bit of damage on the front of that. Yeah, something. He's really bogging down a little bit here. Timothy Glendinning may be able to take the other Audi driver today, maybe taking a spot from Tobias. And Tobias is in the grass again, sliding hard this time.
Well, he's got some front-end damage. I wonder if he's got broke. I wonder if he's just got straight broke steering on the car. Yeah.
We'll have to wait and see if he decides to dive.
Hood is flapping. Really struggling on corner entry to place the car.
And Tobias going to stay out. Lewis Ricard catching up. Nate Lamlin right there with Ricard. Lamlin makes the play, gets himself P13. Now we'll see if either one of these want to come after Tobias.
Tom Foos about to set another fast lap. I think so.
6/10 up, I would say so. Holy cow.
Yeah.
3.62.
We could end up with a 24 by the end of this race. Good.
Gable and Lamlin make contact. As Lamlin comes up the hill through the dirt.
Wells and Foos are battling really close right now. Like they are really starting to take swings at one another. I think this can, these guys can
Just waiting to see if Tobias can
survive.
Yeah, he's just trying to keep it on track right now. Lose as few positions as possible. We've already seen him drop 5 in the last 2 laps. Jake Wells still about a second back from Foos. Just over 3 minutes left to go today. Again, folks, come back next week. We are at the Nürburgring for longer races. 45 minutes AM and Pro-Am class race and a 1 hour Pro and Silver race. You can join yours truly right here. Mr. Mill, we will be traveling and be unable to join us. But that's all right. We'll still have all the coverage right here. We'll miss him. Safe travels, sir. We'll wait for your return.
Yeah. Well, I'll get back just in time to run into the wall at Bathurst.
There you go. Yeah, because coming up the week after, we are headed to Bathurst on Saturday, the 18th. We will head to Bathurst. It's going to be a blast, 12 hours, and then back the next day for the next season race on the 19th.
On a I'll be racing on a high quality Italian trampoline, aka the Ferrari.
The Ferrari, perfect.
Bathurst is gonna be tough.
You got this, sir. Like I said, we're gonna put the camera on you the whole time and just leave it there.
It'll be fantastic. That'll be great. Be sure and have like some sound clips like queued up. Maybe some
little
sad
Benny
trombone
Hill.
Noises. A little
Benny Hill music.
Benny Hill music. Get some
perfect.
sad trombone in there. Don't forget the whammy sound from Press Your Luck.
There you go. We'll cue those up. I'll get a soundboard queued up for when you're going across the top of the mountain.
Yeah, it'll be great. It'll be great.
Jake Wells has now closed that gap on Foose down to 4/10.
It's really tight right now. Really tight gaps in a number of spots right now on track between Gable and Rickard.
I see that Gable and Kornikov came together with contact. Looks like both staying on track, though Kornikov about 3/10 back. But right now, we're going to watch for this race lead between Tom Foose and Jake Wells. These guys are going to have one more lap to fight it out.
Nice spicy battle.
Man, the leader is on the final lap.
Wells doing a new fastest lap, 125.135. But no 124s yet. Wells got to know this is make or break, right? Where do you find now? You're on your last lap, Phil. Where are you looking to make the pass before the end of this lap?
So given the fact that he couldn't get it done in Druids, maybe could be looking at it if he can get a good exit out of Westfield through Dingledale. Try and catch him off guard at Sheens, so blind right-hander at the crest of the hill.
Okay.
It'll be interesting. Right now, I don't think he's got the gap down far enough for it to happen. I think all Foose has to do is just keep it on the black stuff and just cover the inside line. Wells going wide through Westfield. He's leaving nothing on the track. He's just giving everything.
Mm-hmm.
But I just feel like a half second's too much.
And now, though, Charlie Booth dealing with Wardy Rumbouts here on the last lap. All the action happening right at the end today.
Yeah, Wells is right there at the end, but it's not close enough.
We'll see Tom Foose cross the line here in just a moment.
What a race from Tom! Seriously.
100%. Tom Foose, Jake Wells first and second. How about Gasolina in third in the number 1 car as Charlie Booth is doing everything he can to hold on here. Photo finish for Booth. He's able to hold on to P4 over Rumbouts. Holy cow. There couldn't have been more than about a 100th of a second between the two of them.
Yeah.
Anthony Anderson coming across in 6th.
If you believe timing and scoring, 0.08 of a second.
0.08. Wow.
So less than a 10th.
Wow.
Yeah.
Just so you're aware, so I can't see you.
Aw.
Tom Foose, your winner today. Gasolina takes the silver class win and the podium. Fantastic drive from Gaz. Take one more quick look here at our position deltas for the day. Tom Foose, Jake Wells, and Gasolina all up 1. All taking positions from Charlie Booth, which is just fantastic. Rumbouts breaks even in 5th. Anderson up 3, Aguilar up 5, Jarrett Skinner up 8 spots on the day. He's the big winner in this one, getting himself up from P16 all the way to P8, finishing in the top 10. Paul Morris up 1, and Rocky Rocco up 5 spots today. And there you have it. The race is done. Riddian Lloyd Davis and Tobias Gable coming together at the end. Gable finishing in 18th. Obvious damage.
Yeah, that's a
leading
struggle
him around,
bus.
right? Yeah.
Once he had that
huge-
front end damage, it was tough.
Yep. I think he was just trying to hold on till the end of the race at that point.
But man, Tom Foose, what a race, man! And Gasly, I messed up my tire pressures. Well, you know what happens, man. It happens to the best of us.
You got to say though, you know what though? Fantastic drives from Gaz. I think he did a great job. He's a silver driver. He was able to hang with the pros all day long today. And what was I going to say? I had something to say and then I forgot what it was. Of course I did. No, I just think Gaz had a great. That's where I wanted to go. Thank you, Gaz. You reminded me. It was the pits. This whole race.
58-4.
Yeah, this whole race was won and lost on those pit stops because had Charlie Booth hit properly, he should have been able to stay out front. Right?
Yeah.
Wells should have been able to stay out front, but Foose and Gaz hitting their pits got them back up front. Gaz first now says he screwed up his pressures, so gonna lose time to Foose, but then hangs on and is able to stay up there in the top three. And again, the whole race was won on pit stops today. Fantastic.
Yeah, it was a masterclass in how to handle the pit stop, sir. Good job. 58.4 was definitely the pit stop of the day that I saw. I can go back and look at the data later, but I think that was the fastest we saw this weekend.
100%. Well, sir, Mr. Milby, thank you so much. I appreciate you being here each and every time. Again, we're gonna miss you next week, but have safe travels across the country wherever you're gonna be traveling through, or flying, or driving, or whatever you're gonna do. Be safe.
Yeah.
And we will look forward to having you back the week after for the regular season race. So next Sunday here for the Nürburgring race, race four of season 5, and then back the following Saturday for the 12 hours at Bathurst. It's going to be absolutely insane. You disappeared again, sir. You're gone.
I went to the
nether
thing.
region.
I wanted to look at the pit stops, and then of course I clicked away from the window, and the camera disappears.
Of course,
I gotta figure that out.
Oh, and Gaz says he's going to miss the next 3 races, so that's unfortunate. Doing a great job in our silver class this season. So, folks, be sure and come back next Sunday, and the following week, the 18th and 19th, we got races both days. We got a seasonal race on Sunday. We got the 12-hour on Saturday. So, plenty of racing action. If you're not driving yourself, even if you are, come and take a watch. We'll be here for it. Sir, have a great week. As I said, enjoy your travels, and thank you once again. Appreciate it.
Yeah, it was a blast. See y'all. I'll probably be in chat next week, so I'll see you then.
There you go. Awesome. Thank you much, Phil. On behalf of Phil Milby and myself and Box3 Motorsports, we will see all of you next week. Thank you so much.